Here we go. Here we go. Let's do this. Sound is up.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Smite 2 update show. I'm Titan Dandy. I'm super excited to be here to talk about Smite's closed Alpha 2 update. That's number 2. I'm not alone, of course. I'm joined by some faces you should know and love. We have Pawn and AJ here with me today.
Hey, you might not recognize me because I forgot to wear the right shirt, but
there's a reason for that. That's, you know.
I've been around. I've worked on the game for a while, so
yeah.
Glad to be here. Got some fun things to talk about.
Super excited, and we do have a lot to talk about. You ready, Pawn?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's do it. All right. So first off, you know, I always got to talk right at the top. Patch notes should be live right now. There's a lot of things we're going over, a lot of balance, as well as a lot of new things. We might not be able to read off every single number. Checking out the patch notes on smite2.com/news should be the best way for you to follow along and get all of those sweet numbers we might not read off directly on the show. To move forward, we're in alpha still. The only way to guarantee access to this game, for those of you who do not know, is with a Founders Edition. It's a great way to both support us and to make sure that you're playing Smite 2 and getting all of these updates right away. So there are 3 tiers of the Founders Edition. Y'all know what that looks like. Y'all have seen this before. Lots of good to be had here. So if you're interested,
don't forget, if you're a PC player, use Garza Gaming, no space, Garza Gaming at your checkout if you want to support the channel. They have a content creator thing where you can support your content creator.
Money to something that you might be on the fence about.
Garza Gaming.
So how about this? If you want free access to the game, we got that going for y'all right now as well. I believe there's a chat command. It should be ! Access. That's going to give you a link to a giveaway. We're giving away quite a few codes across 3 different platforms for access.
Or you can just DM me on my Discord and tell me what platform you have, and I'll give you a code. I got codes for PC, I got codes for PlayStation, I got codes for Xbox.
Check the game out and then decide, you know, if you feel like joining us on this journey, or you still provide us feedback. Get a Founders.
It's not the Founders Edition. It's exactly what he's talking about right now.
So go to that link, and there's a secret password you need. That password, I'll make sure I say it right, is Smite 2 Alpha, all one word and all caps. So Smite 2, the number 2, Alpha, all one word, all caps.
Or
so
go to my
and
Discord,
type that in. I think you have to
DM me,
our
and I'll
Twitch
give you a
well,
code.
But then you will get a free code, and make sure that you choose the platform that you intend to play on. There's 3 different options. You will have Steam, PlayStation Network.
No, it's a giveaway. For them, it's a giveaway, so it's like a raffle.
And Xbox.
And it's not the Founders Edition code. It's just access to the game, so you can try it out if you haven't bought it yet.
That's for Twitch chat. So if you're interested, make sure you hop over to Twitch chat and grab that. So.
And that's on the Twitch chat.
Awesome.
Yeah,
but well, thank you,
they have to pick you in order to give. They're only giving away so many codes.
So I guess we're gonna keep moving. It's time to just dive right into
our
stuff we have to
peeps,
talk about
if
today,
you want to play Smite 2 and you haven't bought it yet, DM me in our Discord and I'll give you a code. And you can play with this when we play Smite 2 next Tuesday.
From closed alpha
Tuesday we will be trying
Smite
Smite
2. What
2.
y'all have to say. So let's dive into
What's
some of
up,
the more general
Winterflex? What's up,
variety of fixes and new features here, but yeah, so. Fixed an issue with the arena mode.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Orcless, no problem, brother.
I've seen a lot of discussion about that one
grind is
online.
back.
Yeah. Fixing an issue with Mastery 9 took more worshippers to attain than Mastery 10. Just a little miscalculation, you know.
That'll happen.
Easy fix.
Math is hard.
Fix an issue where players could get deserted
with
when
those
other players exited a ranked match. That's one that's been around for a while. We had that one off and on. That's a tricky one. When the lobby is crashing, sometimes it doesn't know who was the culprit. But there's another fix in for that in this update, so I'm happy about that one.
Awesome.
This is a big one right here. Fix an issue with stuns, wounds, and mesmerizes would still show characters moving for a small
Winterflux
distance
Interactive gifted Elisha Doalere a membership.
That was a server client.
Appreciate that, brother.
But that was really important because, you know,
but it's going to make it hard to hear.
Winterflux Interactive gifted Sakanarai a membership.
Still moving. It's weird.
Yeah, exactly. And a similar one with that, dashes, leaps, and other movement abilities have been improved to allow you to keep your max
Winterflux
speed
Interactive gifted Kotspur TS26 a membership.
And let you move in any direction. So you will keep your
appreciate
full
that,
speed as you enter into a leap, or what we call a tween, which is what, you know, kind of a technical
I'm surprised we still got people that are not members, man. There's many memberships to Spookgate this freaking month.
And we use that to cover a lot of dashes, leaps.
We had a lot of people buy memberships too, which is awesome, man.
So you'll be able to keep moving full speed as you enter and exit those.
Awesome.
So both of those are just going to contribute to a lot of like core smoothness of the gameplay.
Yeah, help refine that second by second play. Cool, let's keep going.
Collision systems rework to reduce issues where characters would fall through the collision or become stuck in collision. Oh, Pan, I forgot to check. Did you see if QA gave us a response on that other thing we were looking at?
I can look real quick.
Yeah. You can, double check for me. We'll add it. So a little bit of a new feature here, adding sensitivity steps in the settings menu. You can now choose up to 0.25 increments. So if you felt like something between 14 and 15, it feels right, but it's like 15 is too fast and 14 is too slow, you can now go to 14.25, 0.5, 0.75.
What is he talking about?
So
mouse?
Essentially 4 times the granularity in your sensitivity settings.
Very refined.
And because that could be a lot of things to click through, instead of having to manually click, you can also just hold the click to cycle real fast, until you get to like the general spot you want, and then you can fine tune adjust from there.
Fine clicks, nice.
Yeah, so that's a big one. New features. Another new feature here is what this is a term that you might have seen if you play fighting games or other games. So the simultaneous opposing cardinal directions is kind of what the feature is, right? We have added this to Smite 2, and we are using the last input is priority as the default setting. So this is going to be, I'll explain a little bit more in the general terms. This is essentially the feature of you're pressing 2 directional buttons at once.
Okay.
How does the game decide?
Yeah.
Right. So Smite 1 actually uses what we would call a neutral setting. So if you press left and right at the same time, those will cancel each other out.
Yeah.
If you're on the neutral setting. So you can change that back if you want, but we're going to be using the default of last input priority. So it'll depend on whichever one you pressed most recently.
Okay.
You'll keep moving. We like this new setting. So first, like I said, you can always revert this. Go to your settings, find the gameplay settings, and change it back to neutral.
Is this for controllers or is this for mouse and keyboard?
The last input priority lets you more quickly toggle between the two. Yeah. Because if you're neutral, at the split second you're pressing both, they'll be doing nothing. So you'll slow down. Okay. Right. So if you really want to get like quicker jukes and change direction really quick, the last input we think is better. So previously we didn't really have this feature like fully designed at all. It was kind of using, I guess, we would say like the engine default or something like that. But we wanted to be very clear about the difference between Smite 1 and Smite 2 here. This is a difference. It is a setting. You can revert back to Smite 1 style if you prefer, or as players get their hands on this and we get some feedback, maybe we can readjust the default and only the true juke shoes, only the Barra backsteppers out there will pull out the last prio input. But we know we've got a competitive audience. So we have set it in the way we think is competitive, and it's intentionally different from Smite 1.
Well, I wonder if this is going to fix their input lag issue they have, man.
Programming feature.
I hope
coming
so.
To this update.
Very cool.
We have changed the default reticle to be the X.
Yeah,
big deal for some people.
What's going to be the
you can always difference
gameplay-wise?
The default is X.
We also have
they're going to try getting it to where they play about the same.
In co-op
it's just that right now Smite 2 has too much input lag for my taste.
Grind out all your mastery in those.
And of course, it looks different a little bit.
That makes sense.
And then
what's up, UK Paul?
The what you had asked for if you had got back. Technically, we're jumping ahead because of the god change, but we might as well call.
No, we're not going to be playing games today.
Rework, and that's
I got to go out of town this weekend, so I got to go to the store and get some stuff after this.
Crazy distances where he just flies.
Our next stream will be on Tuesday.
That was because of the way the collision interacted with an element of the area that was like 1 pixel higher.
Yeah.
And it just sent them flying. That's been resolved.
Kind of like a slide jump, but like up instead of down.
Yes.
Huh, okay.
Flying Susanoo is fixed. Awesome.
Yeah. Well, cool. All right. So that covers it for some of the more general gameplay stuff, but we still have a few quality of life, some really cool updates to keep hitting. So let's talk about art next.
We have a lot of these. Yeah, we have many sections. So let's go. We got Soul and Ymir card arts have been reworked to show more of the artwork. Previously, we had cropped those in a little tighter.
Zoomed in.
But now they're zoomed back out so you can kind of see the full art. The Jingwei card art has been adjusted due to player feedback. Mostly it's been a rework of her facial features.
Okay.
So it's going to be more reminiscent of what you're used to in Smite 1, but keeping a lot of the other updates on the detail and accuracy in the clothing and all that other stuff.
Yeah, nice.
Hades' staff in his 3D model has been reworked to the 2-pronged bident.
A bident.
And I had, just to call out, one specific community, we know Reddit was the ones talking about this a lot.
I saw
They were also talking a lot about a Hades remodel.
Dude, come on, man.
Phrased this change.
Does anybody really care about what staff Hades has? Right? How about those auto builds, man? How about those auto builds?
To only update the weapon.
You know what I'm saying?
There was a lot of various feedback about Hades and a lot of different.
I think more people would play the game
like the model
if they could do their own auto builds as opposed to what Hades had in his hand. You know what I'm saying?
The one thing that we felt like everybody generally agreed on was the weapon.
Who's the program manager here, man?
A nice nod to the lore. It would just look cool. things like that. So we did set some time aside to make that weapon change. I think it looks really good.
It does.
Shout out to the communities who phrased that. But that was the intent, was to just change the weapon, not the rest of the model. Our Hades is our Hades, and we love him, and he's a very, very
There's
popular
still a lot that need to fix. Input lag,
so we
auto
don't intend
builds
to like
are my two
really
big
change
ones.
much else.
Cool. And one last thing to talk about in this section.
Yeah, we updated the CC buff bar icons. So, those little red icons that get put above your health bar that show when you're CC'd, those have been updated to a new suite of more like clearly readable art and more modern art. We were just using some old temps there that were like, they're very colorful, but they were hard to see. They were kind of noisy. They were old. So these are updated now, and they'll match the ones that are consistently used in the ability tooltip. So you'll see like, this is the stun icon, this is the stun icon. It syncs up very nicely, and it's a lot more clear to read and just glance out the corner of your eye real quick to see if you're CC'd.
Love some visual clarity. Well, cool. To keep the ball rolling, we're moving, I guess kind of similar to that, we're moving into more of the UI department of fixing.
Yeah, that last one was a UI art. So it was in the art section, but now we're in UI.
It ties together.
Yeah, we got a lot. For this is only a 3-week update, we got all this, and we go, here we go. So we fixed a variety of issues where settings would reset at unintended times. This still might happen on certain settings and certain occasions. Please continue to voice that if you see that, but we did fix many of the situations with this. We've added arrows to the god pages in the front end. So at the top left, you can click the arrow left and right to cycle between gods instead of having to go out and back to the list and click in. Now you can just between the gods.
Nice.
Right?
Cool.
Items in your inventory in the game that are ready to upgrade will now have a gold coin icon on them. So if you look down at your inventory, you see a bunch of gold icons, you go, you got enough gold to go back to base.
Yeah.
That type of thing. That just wasn't there, right?
I missed that feature.
It's all the stuff we have to remake, right? Making a new game. There's a lot of stuff. Yeah. We fixed various issues with the item store that would affect console navigation. This is there's a really loaded bullet point here.
Yeah.
There's so many things we're fixing, and it would take a really long time to copy and paste all these out. So we can give more clarity in the future if we need to. But we did want to talk about here that we fixed many issues involving the item store.
Make sure you guys are watching this in 1440, 60 frames a second, or 1080p, whatever your phone can
displaying properly. So there was times where items
YouTube has been messing up on the resolution.
You can't afford, even though you could.
Yeah.
Or you would sell.
We always stream in 2K.
Display the incorrect gold or something like that.
Okay.
Fixed a lot of issues like that. We fixed some issues using the undo feature. That's always been a surprising.
And there should only be like a 6-second delay or less.
When you think about it, a lot of players.
The
ambassadors know because we talk about it all the time.
You have to reload your
So fix
browser.
a lot of features with the undo button, and we fixed a lot of buttons with click registration. There's a couple places where it would feel like it would take an extra.
I was looking on mine. Mine was behind by like 20 seconds.
It felt just kind of unresponsive. So we fixed a variety of issues around that too. So lots of fixes to the item store.
Wow, good stuff. Always love being able to navigate that better.
Yeah, opening HUD overlays on a controller platform or setting will now close multiple menus. So you could open up the tab screen and the shop and stuff, and it will all stack on top of each other, and you could get kind of stuck or confused.
Back out a bunch.
If you're on a console, those will close each other and only open one at a time.
Handy.
The item
they haven't announced nothing yet.
They're
still
set back to the minimal setting, so the smaller grids of items as opposed to the full long descriptions.
Yeah.
It's going to be the new default. We felt like in Smite 2 that one just really fit. It was interesting because in Smite 1 we used the long descriptions.
Yeah.
And a lot of people kept that on, but in Smite 2, maybe because the player base has evolved, the item stores, the systems are different. People like being able to see more items at a glance.
Yeah.
So we're switching that default.
I like that.
And we also have fixed an issue where in the player profile page, your player level bar was just, or the level was just not correct.
Okay, yeah, I remember seeing that one. You'd log in and be like, I'm not level 1, but maybe I am. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I noticed that
too. So
too.
we have one more cool thing to talk about in this section, and that's a tutorial, some new NPE experience. So let's dive into the Smite tutorial that we have.
Yeah, as we approach the free-to-play launch in the future, we're going to be adding these tutorial and new player experience
Sometimes
features
I think they're just trying to drag things out.
It's going to be ramping up as we go.
Yeah.
This is just kind of the first one we have for today. Is a basic combat tutorial can now be played through a specific queue. This tutorial you'll play as Neath on the arena mode. Those of you for Smite 1 will be familiar with a lot of the core concepts. It's really just intended to teach you the basic concepts of the game, how to move, how to shoot, that type of thing.
They're stalling.
We will be expanding these systems over time to help players learning Smite is kind of a long.
I don't think you'd be able to turn off crossplay because they use the same server for everything.
If you've never played Smite before, there's a lot of stuff to learn. You don't just learn it all in one tutorial. So we're going to have
for them to be able to do that, they would have to have dedicated servers just for PlayStation, just for Xbox, and just for PC.
Spread out over
and they're not going
to
spend that kind of money.
Challenges and tests.
Makes sense.
A lot of which we like the idea of overlaying while you PvP, right?
Yeah.
We had a lot of that stuff in Smite 1. So this is just the beginning. A lot of that's coming up. But for now, we have the basic arena tutorial. So if you have a friend who you brought to Smite 2, they've never played before, tell them to go ahead and look at that. In the future, they will
or just tell them to go to YouTube and look for Garza Gaming.
A lot of that stuff's not ready yet, but the map itself, you can play through and check it out.
Sounds good. Always a fan of new player experiences. So cool. A good section there, but we got plenty more to talk about, and we are going to keep the ball rolling as we move into now talking about game modes. So obviously we have Conquest and Arena, and we have a blanket of changes for both of them.
Here we go. They're
starting with
announced
Conquest and some environmental art changes, it looks like.
Yeah, I think it's time for Pon's time to shine. Can we go in game?
Oh yeah, we can totally look at some stuff.
Dude, we can totally. All right,
there's spoilers. Well, you're good to transfer to me because people already know. They see the patch notes shows.
True. You can see you can see it.
Yeah.
So.
We ignore who we're playing. We haven't seen this yet.
Yeah,
because they're showing
the environment team is still hard at work. We talked a lot about environment art in the last show.
Yeah.
But it's something that's going to be a continual process for Smite too. We're looking at specifically.
That's what they were talking about. Giving it away.
It's still a big.
But we already knew she was coming out.
But we're also
I actually played her.
New, really interesting landmarks. So we saw there the giant Medusa.
To me, she felt like exactly like Smite 1, to tell you the
I
truth.
should have come up with a more proper noun. This one I've been told is called the Lich Head.
The Lich Head. That looks right. That looks like a Lich Head.
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot more of these. I think even as Pon, you were flying around there's a couple things that, like I said, me and Pon, we see a lot of stuff trickle in over time. So like, it's hard for me to remember exactly what players have seen before and what they haven't. But I know for a fact the Lich Head, the Medusa Wall, these walls in the lane and the braziers with fire.
Yeah,
those are new. Those
I've played her a few times, but not too many times. But the few, I think I did a couple videos on her.
I mean, even like that centaur.
She was all right.
Yeah. And keep in mind,
that's not in this patch.
Her ult is very annoying.
We're in dev, so we might have things that are not exactly going to be there. But to give you a taste of these landmark pieces being added, adding flavor to the jungle, adding flavor to key moments on the map, making it feel like you're really in this mythological.
Dude, to tell you the truth, Smite 2 Conquest and Smite 1 Conquest, because I'm not a Conquest player, they all look the same to me.
And you get the view of it all the way down.
And then the fact that they're streaming on Twitch, so their bitrate is garbage, it just makes it look like Smite 1 to me.
Kind of just rocks and trees, right? And they were right. We were starting off with a basic setup, but now we've gotten through a lot of the core foundational elements. Now we're adding those really cool new exciting landmarks. And you can get a spoiler of ones for the jungle camps that's coming next patched.
Yeah,
next patch
in the future. So, and right here it says Gold Fury pad rework as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. I wasn't sure if we did that one already. There was, I think, a minor rework in CA1, but yeah, it's been reworked again to be even more clear. It's a very high combat
if I was to
zone.
see this right now, I wouldn't need to know this was Smite 1 or Smite 2 to tell you the
truth.
truth.
A whirlpool of gold, and that added a lot of noise.
I'm like, whatever.
Ground, which made particles difficult to get.
Yeah.
Right. So this one's been cleaned up even further and included some more specific of those cool, like, underworldly, demonic type symbols and themes that the Gold Fury has present on her character model.
Awesome. Well, looks great. So next up we have looks like a returning camp to the map, the Pyromancer.
Yes, a new objective to Smite 2, the Pyromancer. We got a lot of feedback. That's the Griffin thing I was talking about, by the way.
I saw the Griffin.
Right. I think that was already in CA1.
I think I have to actually kill these things first, right?
They didn't try to improve the textures?
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
We don't have Pyromancer spawned on the map yet, sorry. But you know the Pyromancer. You know it. You love it. The Pyromancer. We got a lot of feedback that... you have bots immune.
And she normally doesn't move that fast. They're just doing that just to show you. I'm sure that they have some admin code.
Even with the Nagas in place, there was still like, you're going to wait the whole time, Pon. We're going to... So we really needed something else to help bridge the gap, and this is just a really successful and beloved.
Yeah, they're using God mode. They're using admin codes.
In Smite 2,
she normally doesn't move that fast, obviously.
The general mechanics of it are going to work mostly the same. There's not really any major changes. So defeating the Pyromancer will give you the runic bomb, and will grant your.
That's
team,
what I was just saying, dude. To me, I'm not a Conquest player, so if I was to just came in right down to the stream, I wouldn't know if this was Smite 1 or Smite 2. It looks exactly the same to me.
Bomb, it has 2 seconds before before detonating, and then it deals 1,000
everything looks
true damage
exactly
to
the
structures,
same.
minions, or jungle creatures, and it reduces their attack speed. Or if it hits an enemy god, it deals 300 damage and knocks them out.
Nice.
The runic bomb also has health and can be destroyed before it detonates by enemies. So pretty much the same flow what people are used to in Smite 1. But the Pyromancer is like a really big deal for bridging the gap between the mid game and the late game. It adds a lot of value to the solo lane side of the map and gives them some really meaningful rotations over there.
That could
so
just
really
be their
and,
computer,
another
their stream
thing to do on this conquest map.
Like I said, their equipment is
Always
garbage,
love a good
dude.
siege objective. Cool. So moving forward from there,
I'm not gonna say the equipment is garbage, but they can only their bit rate on Twitch is very low, so the colors sometimes look a little saturated.
Right?
So
that might not be what they're seeing on their
some pretty
computer.
heavy balance.
It's just the stream
in this patch. We're starting with the map.
Twitch
items and
handicaps
items
your
is gonna
bit rate.
have a lot as well.
That's why everything looks like garbage.
But
I bet you they're what,
overall,
1080p?
the state of Smite 2 in this first alpha, it was like OTDK,
there we
super
go.
bursty.
How's that?
Super fast.
I was at
build
720p
game,
myself. It should look a little bit
which is,
better now.
exciting to a degree, but some of it was being pushed a little too far. So one of the things we're talking about here first, and we'll get into the items and gods as we go, but starting with the map, which is a lot of times when people are talking about TDK and burst, they discuss mostly just items and gods, but the map has a really big impact on that as well. Usually when you're gaining gold much faster than what feels like the general
that was my bad. I had on 720p
gold and XP. You're getting gold faster.
I was wondering, dude, because their bit rate looked like garbage.
Everybody is going to be dealing a lot more damage. Their item scaling's online, but their base stats aren't catching up. Those types of things. So it makes especially squishy v squishy combat.
Yeah.
And there's heavy gold inflation. Is everybody's dying really fast.
Yeah. No base stats to protect you.
So we have a variety of changes here to make objectives on the map more challenging. So those are going to be harder to kill, slow things down a little bit, and we're decreasing the gold value from a lot of things. So just to go through it all, like I'm not going to read every number, but towers, tier 1 towers, tier 2 towers are going to have
and keep in mind,
increased health. And
when you stream
power, so they're going to deal more damage.
If everything is standing still,
and they're going to be harder.
You get really good, a really good picture, right?
Gold. So those
but when things start moving, that's when the bit rate, the low bit rate, comes into play. So when she starts moving around, it's going to start getting a little bit of fuzzy, and that's because Twitch has garbage bit rate.
But those are going to be worth
on YouTube. My bit rate is 18,000.
30 gold to 15 gold.
The max that you can use on Twitch, I think, is around 8,000. So 10,000 less. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's
and normal people only use 6,000. So
tier 2 tower now grants.
And I know that's probably Chinese, the people that don't stream, but
worth a little bit more than the tier 1.
Let me put it this way:
it's a heavy nerf,
I use a fire hose this big to stream. All the data goes through a fire hose this big.
Yeah, the Phoenix
Twitch's fire hose is that big, so the data goes through a hose that big.
Power is increased, and Phoenix penetration
there's less data
increased. So Phoenix is going to be more scary too. Fire Giant, harder to kill, increased health, and increased protection.
But when things are standing still like this, they should look decent.
Health and increased protections. Minions in general.
Minions.
Yeah, this is the spicy ones here. Minion starting gold rewards decreased. That's where we're going to get them.
I haven't listened to a word they say either. I'm waiting for them to get to something important.
Loaded gold across the map.
It's just earning money off minions right away.
And we also were finding that oftentimes junglers
I can care less about conquest, dude. I ain't gonna lie.
If they weren't
I'm like, whatever, dude.
Waves.
Okay.
So that should help the jungle be a little bit more on pace. So the minions are getting
they don't.
The bigger decrease there, but the jungle is also getting a decrease. It's less about a jungle because this is sort of like a contested lane objective, but specifically the gold Cyclops.
Honestly, I haven't really been covering these Smite 2 updates because it's been nothing but boring crap. But this one should be important because they're introducing new wall and they're introducing Amaterasu. And I'm hoping they introduce auto-builds, so that's why I wanted to see.
New Smite season.
Yeah.
Snowball goes way up.
But some of our Reapers might enjoy Conquest. You know what I'm saying?
Mechanics are new, a lot of balance.
I don't hate on you if you like Conquest. You can play whatever you want. You know, whatever makes you happy. I just personally don't like Conquest.
Snowball level of game, and it's going to affect time to kill and burstiness. Although we're still going to address that.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately. Arena is the redheaded stepchild of Conquest. We get the ripple effects of all the changes. Because every change they make in this game, 99.9% of the changes are for Conquest, right? We just get the ripple effects.
For the Conquest map, but Arena has some things to talk about. And we're starting off like we did with the Conquest map, talking about environment art. So there was, I think, one change.
They said Arena.
Oh, yeah. We toned back down the saturation just a bit.
Okay.
Because as we were sorting through that feedback, we found that mostly that had been geared towards the Conquest map.
Yeah.
The Arena map was already in a pretty good spot. So that saturation was maybe a little too pushed. So that's just walking.
Yeah, and we noticed that. Somebody said that in one of our streams.
Overall, like, looks good. Turn the saturation a bit.
Yeah, I did. I remember hearing that I didn't hear it until CA1, but a few arena mains and ambassadors and their friends specifically said it still felt a little too saturated.
You said the dirty word.
Which was funny because like, first it was like not enough color. That was too much color. But it's like, no, that's how iteration works. That's how game balance works. It's like the art has to go through the same process sometimes.
Yeah, it's the Goldilocks process. All right, so cool. Next up, we have continued arena changes. The setup time is being reduced just a little bit.
Yep. Get the game mode started faster.
There you go. Nice and easy. And after that, the basic tutorial, which we'd already kind of talked about, is just mentioned here again. The tutorial that we talked about earlier is in the arena mode, so you can hop in, play as Neath, and learn the absolute basics. If you have a friend who's never played, it's a great cue for them to jump into.
Or they can just go to GarzaGaming.com and check out the videos on Neath.
So awesome. We'll just continue moving forward, and actually, this next section, this next section too.
I'll be putting out some Smite 2 videos once.
Oh yeah, it gets. So I was gonna say I'm prepared to talk
better
about this
developed.
I would love to have Max on the show, and he's gonna talk us through the
it's
next
still
couple
too
sections
early
as well.
True. So you know him, you love him. Max, the numbers cruncher, should be joining us.
And we know everyone's hungry for ranked and matchmaking updates. So
hello.
Yo.
Hey. I'm back. Hey guys, how's it going?
Doing good.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
Happy to be back on. Happy talking about some numbers. We got a lot of out-of-game game systems to chat about.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I think we should just dive right into it. Starting with the role preference system. So that's new in here.
Yeah. No, we completely reworked the role preference system for Smite 2. Kind of teased this already quite a bit, but when going into Conquest now, players are going to rank their roles based on like most preferred to least preferred, so 1 through 5. This has a whole bunch of advantages in terms of us assigning roles, but also it gives us really good data on where the roles are at, what people want to play, all that stuff. I don't know, do we have the
this is Conquest, dude? That has nothing to do with the arena. The
the
only thing they said about arenas is they turned down the color on it.
It might be in a state
it's less
of
saturated now.
It's
that was it,
but we
man.
definitely shared social media images of it as well.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I have it up.
Cool.
Yeah.
Jump in game then.
Let's take a look. What I love about this too is they're not just the order, but they also give some definitions and descriptions and locations about the roles too. So if you're like very new,
there was only one
system,
change that I heard.
They
changed the color. They made it not as saturated.
There you go.
Do you need to select roles, or are we going to using the default roles? You will.
Yeah. No, you'll have to select. They're kind of ordered in a few different ways that if you don't want to think about it too much and you're a new player, you can select that. There's also fill, but I'll walk through some details here.
Okay.
Here we go. So what's gonna happen?
I can see how this could be very helpful to new players.
1 to 5,
they know what lane to go to. You know what I'm saying?
Top 2 roll.
So
you're gonna
I can see that being actually helpful.
Match.
Okay.
And that in terms of like getting the most priority to the least. If you get your very bottom roll, you're going to get like high priority for the next match. You should be almost guaranteed your top roll or top 2 at least. If you get your 4th roll and then your 3rd roll, those are kind of the same. But then also if you decide to queue as fill, you'll also earn a bit of priority for your next match as well. So if you don't have a specific role that you're interested in, but you kind of maybe eventually want to choose to play middle or support, like for sure, you can queue some games with Phil, and then you can set your role preference afterwards.
And if you click
and the reason it takes so long for arena matches to start up is just because there's a smaller pool of people playing at that time, right?
So that
and depending on how their matchmaking is, if you're higher level than the people that are on at that time, it's going to take longer because the system's going to try to match you with their whatever the threshold is, +5, -5, +10, -10, -10, +50. I don't know what their criteria is.
Where that's in progress.
Once Smite 2 goes mainframe,
so even if
you know what I'm saying?
A relatively new player,
it's going to arenas are going to be going like this, dude. It's just that right now, a lot of people went back to Smite 1 because Smite 2 just is not fun right now.
Right here. You know,
I mean, that's what it is.
Just introducing
even
the
people like
that
Weekend
really
and a lot of those other bigger Smite streamers, they said the same damn thing I did. That is just not fun for content creation. It's not interesting for content creation right now.
Having multiple places where you're kind of reminded and introduced to it over time is really good for actually building those skills.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, I've talked to some people who internally who have said that getting this system up and running is kind of a stepping stone for a variety of other helpful systems, especially for new players that we'll be able to continue implementing now that this first one is done. So it's a stepping stone.
At start of the game. Oh yeah, are you talking about the countdown? The countdown's too long.
For that, Max, but we have
yeah. I noticed that too.
I noticed that too. Conquest. So there are some updates.
I think we got the same timer from Conquest onto Arena, and they might have done that because of the new players, and once
the first patch,
the games have been out for a little bit, they might cut that by half. But I see what you're saying. Yeah, that start in the beginning is way too long.
More long term, some of them more short term.
But without auto builds, they might have done that on purpose. Once we get our auto builds, maybe they'll cut that. Or once it's been out long enough, people get used to the store, they'll cut it.
Going into the second patch here, we're going to be changing it up. So
I
players
agree,
will now be able to
1000%.
for ranked conquest in a party of size 1, 2, or 5. Solo players and duo queues will be back into the same queue, and then full parties will only play against other full parties. And to give a dev note to that, we're internally very committed to making a really successful solo queue option for all players, but at the current state,
but is this conquest only? Because did you hear what he said?
Population levels,
if you queue up with a full party, you're only going to go against another team that is a full party.
Tech that we just need to make sure that solo queue and party queues are successful. So we're going to start developing that on the back end. In the meantime, we're going to shift to something
I hate when they don't clarify.
Sustainable. Get the two most common ways to play ranked solo and duo queue.
Okay, they're talking about ranked solo, yeah.
And then just one of the most common pieces of feedback was that 5 stacks have to be against 5 stacks. We thought that may be the case, and then the data started to come in. And even if you exclude the SPL teams that were running down 5 stacks with,
they're talking about conquest and ranked.
5 stacks they win too much against anything else. So we're going to be keeping those against each other from here on out. So
he said ranked.
Data.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
What we need to do moving
I heard
forward,
him say ranked too.
But we are making a change that's a little bit more classic. But we're going to keep the 5.
And it only makes sense, right? If you're going to be doing something that you're going to progress in a ranked system, if you go in with a pre-made on comms, you're always going to dominate a pug group. You know what I'm saying? It's just like Arena, pretty much.
Consistently
you got the upper hand
right now, but we want
unless you go against a Reaper crew, right? Then you're gonna feel stupid when you're on comms in a pre-made and get your butt whooped.
Queue up, see who you play
because the Reapers don't play. We tear that butt up.
We'll monitor that and see where it goes. And one last kind of base change for ranked conquest is that time to select a god in the draft screen, we've lowered it from 60 seconds to 45 seconds. So we're trying to get people into games faster.
There you go. Okay, hopefully they do that thing for Arena
pretty
too.
Major change to the rank system. However, there is still going to be a solo queue coming. I don't think that there's much in-game stuff to show off with this quite yet. So you kind of just have to look at me when I talk about this.
That's okay.
But yeah, we're gonna be introducing an elite ranked queue, this is something that we were designing on the back end for a minute, but we've kind of moved it forward because we think it's going to address a lot of issues we have going on with matchmaking and making sure that the best players are playing against the best players and making sure the best players also aren't playing against brand new players. So what elite ranked conquest is it's going to be a separate queue that you unlock when you hit diamond rank, so 3200 SR. This threshold can change in the future. It's a solo queue only mode.
Too bad they didn't do an independent ranked arena. I think that would have been awesome. A solo ranked arena. That would be awesome, dude.
There's going to be details. I would go to the patch notes to read the specifics of it all, but elite ranked conquest is going to be the solo queue, elite queue that we have set up for our very top players. We expect those games to be highly competitive.
If we had that, if if my Reapers went on, if I wanted to play, I can play with people that are at my skill level, you know what I'm saying? And I get drugged down by newbies.
And yeah,
so I can actually enjoy the game and test things out, you know what I'm saying?
Quite yet, but do we have leaderboards ready to show off? Can you navigate to that pond?
I can see.
They might be empty with data, depending on what dev build we're in, but I've seen them.
Profile?
Yeah, under your profile, there's a ranked section there.
Oh, I'm sure they will never bring ranked arena back. I'm pretty sure they won't.
Show off the dummy data.
I'm pretty sure they won't.
I generated the dummy data.
Yeah, let's see it. It looks
like I said, arena is an afterthought, dude.
That's true.
Player name 1 goes crazy.
9,775 wins already. Yeah, that's some no-lifer.
He's dedicated to this fight.
Well, there really isn't too many reasons not to if they do it independent of each other. You do regular, casual arena, and ranked arena.
1,000 players.
If you're a newbie, play casual. If you don't want to play against the sweaty teams, play casual. But if you want to play against people or with people your level, play ranked. How hard is that? You know what I'm saying?
On the right,
it's a win-win.
Over someone, we're gonna be showing off their.
So I don't know why they don't do a ranked arena aside with not one or the other, but actually both.
Hey,
Player name 7's
hey, anything's possible in Smite 2.
Yeah. And that win rate though.
The dummy data is great.
The dummy data, yeah, the dummy data is really accurate. So for players who really want to compete on this kind of like top 1,000 leaderboard, the kind of general idea is that Elite Rank Conquest will kind of encapsulate the 1,000 players that qualify for this leaderboard. So it's something to earn and unlock.
Yeah, but there's ways they can get around that though. They just make the minions not worth any points, and you have to. It's based on kills. You know what I'm saying?
And if you fall out of platinum, you will.
I mean, there's ways around that.
So you'll have to re-earn it at that point. And we've also made a bunch of changes to skill rating calculations. In the first
because
patch.
it's the same server.
Bugs. There was just some.
It's the game. It'd be the same server.
Party reduction rules.
It's just you're playing a different mode, but it's still the same server.
The patch notes.
It's just a different mode. Each mode doesn't have its own independent server. It's the same server.
And, like skill rating and how low it can go.
It's a software. You're just running a different game on the same server.
And work for that quite yet, so you can refer to.
So it has nothing to do with servers.
And yeah, so we got a whole set of things coming to ranked.
In fact, they're probably running multiple
above 4,000 SR back to 4,000.
Multiple regions on a single server. I wouldn't be surprised.
See some more competition towards the top end again. And yeah, I
would not be surprised.
That's it for what we have going on with ranked.
Yeah. So to clarify for everyone in chat, that was all of that was referring to ranked. That's not going to affect normal queues. You can still play.
Dude, one of these days I should go down to high res and give them and do a news report, right? Ask them about potential. Do you guys hold your own servers or do you rent them? I bet you they rent them.
Potentially in the future,
and ask them questions like that. You know what I'm saying? How are these games put on your server?
Types of parties in the future.
Is Smite 1 and Smite 2 on the same server or they're individual servers? You know what I'm saying?
Towards it in the future.
Okay.
But
I would like to know.
There has to be some technical changes, and there's certain things that we just have to have exist before we let that happen again. So,
and Elite Conquest is solo only.
Elite Conquest.
And once you've qualified for Elite, if you want to play in parties and play in non-Elite, you're going to get heavy SR reductions.
See, for something special like that, like an Elite server, I can see them doing an individual server for that. Anything that's ranked, I can see them having a server that runs only the ranked side of the house and a server that runs all the casual crap. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome.
I can see that.
Those are just some of the things.
Because when you're talking about competition and ranked, you want the less slag, you want the less rubber banding.
All this is also written.
You know what I'm saying? So I can see
so
that.
Smite2.com/news/ a bunch of stuff, closed alpha too. Make sure to check that out because all the cool stuff that Max just explained is written out in beautiful handwritten detail, including.
I can almost guarantee you they're running Smite 1 and Smite 2 on the same servers. They did not rent new servers for this. It's still too early in the game. Why would they waste the money? You know what I'm saying? Especially when they have servers that are already rented. They probably signed like multiple year leases. And the population on Smite 1 is a fraction of what it used to be. So they literally have Lamborghinis driving in a school zone. You know what I'm saying? That's the equivalent of it.
We're still not matchmaking based on SR, but those features are accelerating.
I guarantee that's what they're doing.
But yeah, we got some exciting stuff coming up. Just wanted to put it out there so people know that work is happening and work's happening fast.
So when people say fix max making, the answer is we're working on it.
We're working on it. It also means max making means talk to anyone but me. It means talk to these guys on the couch, DM them. Yeah.
Hey, I had to field matchmaking complaints for many, many years. So the fact that you aren't doing it now is...
I personally would love Ranked Arena just to get all those sweaty teams out of there. So when we do our streams, we can play casual.
Yeah, I see
that. And if we have beginners on our team, they don't get fried.
And thank you for coming out again.
Because you know me, I like to play with anybody.
And yeah, we're going to keep moving on. So awesome. Excited for
those glitchy,
changes. But now we have items to talk about. So...
and it's going to be like that, dude, until they separate the servers.
Right, so let's get into
I don't know.
We have a lot of item
this is me just guesstimating. I think everything's on the same server. I think they're running both games off the same servers. That's why you're getting that crap lag.
Patch notes for all of every single little juicy numerical detail. But we're going to dive right in because we have new and reworked items that we want to talk about, starting with Sunbeam Bow.
Yeah.
This was an item that people might have seen in early testing, but it was just a stat stick.
Yeah.
It's using the Odysseus bow icon as a temp icon with some brighter red coloration there. It's a temp icon. Will be that update. It is not Odysseus bow, but it kind of functions like one.
A little dabble.
It's very different. And so this is going to be, let's see, we're just looking at the stats first, but we're about to go into a few new active items.
Are they giving me my Odysseus bow in Smite 2 finally?
This is the first few. We're going to do a few new ones, and then we're already looking at ones that are existing to potentially change in the future. But today we got some new ones. So Sunbeam bow is an active toggle.
Okay.
First active toggle is you can toggle this on or off all you want. While it's active, you will fire 2 ranged projectiles with each of your basic attacks. They're offset just a little bit to the side. These travel the full basic attack range, and they deal 20 base damage plus 20% of your basic attack damage as magical damage. Item drains 5% max mana per second while active. So your mana goes down pretty quick.
Yeah.
But you can toggle this on to get a wider basic attack, essentially with bonus damage on the side. So if you hit like in the dead center, you effectively get a bunch of basic attack damage, but also helps you get some more chip damage. And what I think is most exciting about this item is you can buy this on a melee god.
Yep.
And you can toggle it on, and you could be swinging your sword and shooting these
projectiles.
beams
That's awesome.
at range.
Now, do you think it's coincidental that they did this when Amaterasu's coming out?
Regen and attack speed item. So it's
now she has her mirror plus this
mana and mana regen. But it was
you know what I'm saying?
Always kind of
that's
the
pretty
stat
good
slot.
timing.
We're working here with a sort of another strength attack speed item.
Yeah.
So that's where this item is positioned stat-wise.
It's like LeBlanc's first ability
it to do that cool effect. We could probably show it in game if we want, Pon.
Yeah, I have it up.
Yeah, let's see it. Do you have it on Amaterasu?
Yeah.
What I tell you,
this is not new to Amaterasu. This is not.
Yeah.
Yeah, people probably clip this and be like, new Ama feature. Actually, oh my God, I didn't even think about that. When I originally pitched Amaterasu in Season 3.
I told you, dude, that's going to be strong on her. That's going to be very strong
was to
on
have
her.
like a basic attack, ranged basic attack stim on a warrior.
Wow, full circle.
Yeah, I didn't even remember that until right now.
I am also going to mention the tech.
Dude, that's going to be so strong on her. That's also going to be very strong on Arachne. Arachne's really going to benefit from that once they get Arachne in there.
So you toggle it on just for the fast attack and then toggle it back off.
But you can see I actually drained my mana.
This is that new. This is not her attack. This is the bow that they're showing you how the bow's working. This is that new Obsidious bow. Don't get it twisted. This is not Amaterasu's attack. This is that item on the bottom right where it shows G
and some int. So building this on full tank is not necessarily going to be.
This is not her abilities.
But a really cool item, something we've never really done.
They're just showing us as that new bow.
Melee attack.
Yeah.
Can now have ranged attacks.
It also opens the door for us to mess around with toggles in the future.
Yeah, I was about to say.
We have another.
Oh yeah. Got you. Yeah.
Also
no, I was just making sure, not just for you, but for everybody that's watching, especially somebody just came in. I didn't, because this is the first time we're seeing her. So I didn't want nobody to get confused.
Been a stat stick for a long time. Didn't really have anything else going on.
Yeah.
We've had a couple passive ideas for it. We always wanted to have something. But this active effect,
I agree. She looks like a spaceship, like she's playing Space Invaders.
15. That are not the same stats on the lower thirds that I have on this page.
Yeah, it should not have.
Dude, that's going to be, I told you, on her, that's going to be very powerful.
On
a lot of
copy paste this year or something like that. But,
Loki.
Pond, can you confirm in the game it's both protections and health?
It's protections, health, and strength. Although I am on the dev build, so I don't know how much.
That's all the melees. This going to be crazy, dude.
Yeah, I thought the stat rework wasn't that crazy for it. So it generally gives you the stats that it was before, which was strength, both protections and health. But now it has another active. This is all the wrong text. Sorry, guys.
The next
copy paste. The next item got mixed up. We can go in game for Eye of the Storm now instead.
Yep.
So this is the other toggle. So like the Sunbeam Bow is like the DPS toggle. This is like the tank toggle. Okay. So you toggle this on to create a vortexing area around you. It drains 5% of your max HP per second while active, and it automatically deactivates if you get to 200 HP and you can't activate it anymore. Actually, maybe you can.
So that's the hammer, the passive on the hammer.
You have
so you get like a Poseidon whirlpool.
As I'm fly around with and slow people down, pull people in, but it's going to increase your chance of dying.
It's like a Hades or a Poseidon whirlpool.
It's hitting you with item damage as it ticks.
Yeah.
Can you reactivate it now that you're too low?
Why tick to you?
So like imagine using that when Kraken comes out. Use that and then use the Kraken. Do.
It won't talk. Yeah, so you cannot kill yourself with it.
Smart. Another very cool item, man. These toggle items are going to
you take
hard.
damage.
Yeah, so we had.
But if you have a
activate on a long.
If you
cooldown,
have an Aphrodite hook to you, when Aphrodite comes out,
what we think are more unique,
she can just throw a heal on you.
Possible
because
opportunities
it's taking
to adjust
5% a tick.
If they're too strong, too weak.
When you got a healer on you, it's not really going to make a difference. They can do a hot on you. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, there's some strategy behind it.
One more active
that you can use.
New active item.
True.
This is a totally new item that we hadn't seen any iteration before in Smite 2 before.
All right, it's called Life Binder. You might have seen the stats for it somewhere.
Right, we did just.
Or using Lifesteal, yeah, Lifesteal would
or even
too.
A little bit cheaper gold item. It's a low int, high health and cooldown, and this has an active that sends out a projectile that deals base plus per level damage. So this can work on tanks.
Yeah,
work on tanks. Tanks effectively get a ranged poke ability from this, or you could use this on a major, anyone, I guess.
Yeah, anybody.
When it hits a god, it'll deal that base plus per level damage. It'll also mark them for 6 seconds, and if an ally damages that marked target, it'll consume the mark and shield and heal that ally.
Okay, very cool.
So like, as a tank, you'll be like, yo, get them.
Yeah.
You poke them, you mark them, and then your DPS can, your jungler can dive in and hit them, and they'll get a heal and a shield for hitting the target you marked.
Yeah.
And getting kills or assists will reduce the cooldown, so you can continue using that. It gives
or
you a bit
arena
of like
that could be very awesome for healing,
as well as some playing around with melee and range.
Yeah, you see somebody that's running for their life, and if you're on comms, you're like, dude, turn around.
It's been a really fun
hit
item playtesting.
You get your, get the heal and get the shield on.
And again,
them.
I will mention we're in dev, so I actually think some items are starting to get a VFX pass. So you might see.
So that could be very interesting. Make some interesting plays.
All items in CA 2 are still using temp effects.
Yes.
And a lot of temp art. But yeah, let's see with a full range of it. Can you back up a little bit so we can see it?
How far? Oh wow, that has quite a range.
It's longer than melee attack range. I think that targeter, yeah.
That's cool. It's like a wave too. It looks like at least currently.
And you can see that I have the mark
that's
on
pretty,
them.
That's a pretty decent range, dude. That's pretty decent range.
It consumes in the Alpha 2 patch. It consumes.
Yeah.
That's definitely longer range than I anticipated,
or
that I thought it would be.
That'll be a great dual lane item for boxing. You set up that against the enemy god, and then you go to trade, and you win those trades. So
it's just fun to shoot a thing at people too. Like it is really fun.
What it does
plus life binder,
you
build,
hit somebody with that attack, right? And it puts a debuff on them. So then when one of your teammates hits them, they get a shield and a heal. As long as they hit them while they have that heart debuff on them.
Blade.
Yeah, we wanted another. This is
very interesting.
Strength, but with a little bit of health. We wanted something that was kind of
now. One thing I didn't hear, and maybe it's a given. Can you get the heal and can you get the heal and the buff if you hit them? You know what I'm saying? If you tag them and then hit them, do you get the benefits
while in the jungle?
And we can test it. We'll test it.
Yeah.
So this is a really
or if it's only for your allies,
leveraging item. So if like the other junglers really bullying you, you can opt into this. To maybe counter them, maybe prevent them from invading if they've been spending a lot of time in your side of the jungle. And if they don't have it, you'll be at a bit of an advantage in the jungle, but you'll be giving up potentially, passive effect that you wouldn't be getting in the lane. Or sieging a base. We had some things like Protector of the Jungle in Smite 1 that we liked a lot. And we were brainstorming around those types of things. We wanted something a little bit more active and meaningful. It's like this has a proc, as opposed to the Protector of the Jungle was just on.
It
just affected everything.
It has nothing to do
so you
with
wouldn't really notice it. You wouldn't really pay attention to it. You just trust it was good. But this one you actually can feel and see, and it has some interesting like counterplay to it. Whether or not, because like starter items are very restricted and they're very telegraphed.
Yeah, of course.
Whereas like this one, you don't know if someone might like. You've been maybe winning all of your fights 1v1, a jungler versus jungler in the jungle, and then all of a sudden one of them shows up with this, and it changes the whole dynamic of the fight.
Yeah, they buy the I own the jungle item, and it goes crazy. Well, cool. Another really
exciting makes you grow 2 times
like
bigger.
New items for this patch or reworked items. I mean, the ones before were essentially had nothing there before. So 4 new items.
Remember that one either.
Items, a new toggle tech. You love to see it, but the item train does not end there. And the next stop is relics. So we have some relic balance we're going to talk about.
We should have done this order differently because I know everyone's going to be screaming about the one we're going to talk about last.
Fair.
But for the relics, we're just doing some general balance to try to get them all feeling like they're closer together in overall power level.
Okay.
So there was one that everybody was saying was really, really, really OP.
Yep.
That's gonna get nerfed. Sunder's gonna get nerfed. We'll get there in a second.
We'll get there. Grand finale.
Combat Blink, everybody still loves, and a lot of people are still like saying, don't nerf it. Let's just adjust around it. Like, let's still try to get the other relics to better compete with Combat Blink. Okay. So like Sunder was just like way OP, was causing some big issues, and Hyper Snowball at early game and multiple copies of the item.
Yeah.
So that one's getting big nerfed. And then the non Combat Blink ones are getting buffed to better
to rise to that level a little bit.
Exactly. So we got Purification Beads, decrease cooldown.
Nice.
We have the Aegis of Acceleration, increase the duration of the movement speed buff.
You talking about in Smite 2? I didn't even know they had an item that made you
We got
grow.
Phantom Shell, increase the HP per scaling, so going to be a little better in the late game, and decrease the cooldown.
And then the one.
Yeah. So the Sunder nerf.
It doesn't even tell you, it just surprised you.
Level 1 jungle damage is being cut in half. We talked to some pro players and some ambassadors, and they felt like this 200 felt like that had counterplay to it. Like the 425 was just like I win button.
Yeah.
But 200, you can kind of play around it. You can anticipate it. You can maybe outburst it to outcompete it without when you don't have it. Things like that. So that's a big nerf. We also nerfed the player damage. It's going to have less ticks, so that makes this math like a little harder to tell. It's going to tick a little bit. It's only going to tick 3 times instead of 5 times, but the total damage has been adjusted, so it's also a damage nerf.
Okay.
Because long dots can just be frustrating and like can feel inescapable.
Yeah.
And, interrupt you and things like that. So like it's going to tick only 3 times instead of 5, and the overall total damage it's going to deal to you is also pretty significantly increased, and then also just a little cooldown increase.
Yeah, sound like
Pawn, anything to add on Sunder?
No, I think just mainly, especially when we're talking to people, the kind of invadey style of play where you're having to defend your jungle and people can start in different places. People are enjoying it. Just this made it too easy to just be like, I default win because I got there first and I had the button.
Yeah.
Or so like if you're a hunter, Beastmaster hunter, and you hit that the big red
run away with
Bestial Wrath.
Gives people counter opportunity. So it should create some really interesting dynamics in the jungle without being too much of a nerf to the item. Just a nice adjustment to make it fit more with where it really needs to.
And teetered more towards, or I guess away from that snowball thing that y'all were working towards getting away from. So
this was a big contributor to the snowball.
Snowball thing, yeah. Awesome. Well, we have plenty more to talk about, and on to consumables now. Starting with the health chalice.
Yeah, health chalice has
consumables in freaking arena are a waste of money.
So
That's my opinion.
It was healing less than the normal potion that wasn't intended. It will now change its icon to properly show you it's empty. We fixed an issue where it was actually only giving you 2 charges of healing instead of the 3, and we have adjusted the stacking rules. So those are going to work more like Smite 1. So health chalice will effectively stack with healing potions in potion.
Yeah, it's only
rules.
Smite 2 changes.
You can't have double healing.
It's going to only be Smite 2 changes.
Yeah.
When you activate
these are the changes that are going to go into effect this Tuesday.
Potion healing effect.
So again,
the way
Armamaratsu, we're getting new wall,
like what Smite 1 has.
And we're waiting to see if we're getting anything else out of it.
Potions and chalices having cooldowns.
Because this Tuesday we will be streaming. Well, my goal is to stream Smite 2 with the new changes to see if it's any good. If not, then we'll just revert to Smite 1.
Double up the burst healing.
But just one really
my plan is to start with Smite 2.
Bullet point. Thank you, production, for jumping right to that. Potions no longer have
just
cooldowns.
To test out the new update.
Potion durations can stack up to 3 times. And this all health and health chalice all contribute to the same type of stacking effect.
Same pool.
Right.
Awesome. And then there's one other thing to talk about, and that's the variety of wards that we have.
This is a big one, sorry about this one with all the
only problem is, dude, this crap is so damn boring because all they talk about is just
we changed like the whole game in CA1.
Yeah.
Some little things got missed. So
Bloodlust
wards now have the proper Smite 1 duration of 180 seconds that, with consumable wards, it makes sense to do that. When we were giving everyone's for free on cooldown, we wanted them shorter, more frequent.
Yeah, it was called something else on Alliance. I can't remember.
Now that you have to buy them, they're potentially rarer. We have the full duration, and the player who kills them will now gain 50 gold. Pon, anything to add here?
This also does count for the Eye of Providence. It does provide 50 gold as well, just as a note there, because it is the Eye of Providence one is a
yeah, me too. I forgot a lot of it too.
We might change that going forward, so I just want to make a note that so people are aware of it.
Heroism, that's what it was.
But it will work that way this patch. So Eye of Providence, that one gets placed down, will give gold to the person who kills it.
Any ward you kill will get the gold.
Yep.
So there's no special exceptions. And if that makes Eye of Providence a little weak, maybe we'll be buffing that
I got a
item.
feeling
and,
that we're not going to get auto builds because they would have mentioned it by now.
So
because they already talked about the
anyway. But
as
of right now, as a support player, I still love having Eye of Providence.
So I think we're
the extra
screwed
warding,
again.
I think is really valuable when with these longer durations in playtesting. It's been really valuable.
Yeah, so. Vision is never not valuable.
Yeah.
So next up on the list, we have a single point under this next header, and it is a very big, bold underlined point. We have a crit change.
That's right. When people were talking about wanting a nerf, what we were seeing a lot was nerf crit.
Nerf crit.
Yeah. So this is like probably the biggest nerf of the patch.
By
a lot of the rest of the nerfs are a little bit smaller, but we're just decreasing the actual critical strike damage factor from 1.75 to 1.65.
I thought crit was 1.5.
So that 10% less damage
Smite
on every crit item. It effectively nerfs,
so there's more crit in Smite 2, I guess. I could have swore crit was 1.5 in Smite 1.
Some of the crit items are also going to get other nerfs just to make sure.
Of course.
But yeah, that's the one to kick off our like items section. And as we go into all these items, really what we're going to see is a lot of
I could be wrong,
the top performing burst items getting nerfed.
Okay.
That's going to include a couple different categories, but essentially we're nerfing a lot of the really OP stuff.
Yeah.
And we'll share some things as we go, me and Pawn, about how we think that maybe will affect things that aren't even listed directly in the patch notes, but it'll still have an effect on those things.
Got it.
And I do also want to mention one other part of the crit nerf is there's a lot of the characters that have that kind of extra bonus scaling on their in hand. So think Crit Ymir, think Athena, where they get really big benefit from crit.
Yeah.
And this nerf, as well as how it interacts with items, allows us to keep those feelings strong when you aren't building crit, but tone down that effect when they do decide to go that crit path. So
yeah, because the high crit Bakas is ridiculous, dude. You actually hit people for 750 a hit. It's ridiculous.
When you're playing a non-crit build.
You just jump up, and as they pop up, you just go.
That's why we went this route over just
3 hits, they're dead.
Nerfing the crit items.
Awesome. Love to hear it. Well, with that being said, let's start talking about some of those nerfs, starting with stacking items.
Yeah, so essentially all of the Smite 1 stacking items we brought over are mega OP.
Yeah, very efficient.
Like, insanely OP. If you want to get the most out of your last few games before the next patch, you should be building these items in whatever role
it's like
you
can. 830
from the devs.
Yeah. So Devourer's Gauntlets is going to get decreased initial strength and decreased strength and lifesteal per stack. It's just was giving way too many stats in general.
Got it. Transcendence up next.
Yep. Transcendence is going to see a similar nerf to its stats in the base strength and the decreased mana per stack. We didn't want to decrease too much the like unique effects on these items. So the mana to strength conversions and the flat penetration, because this is the only place that's really accessible in those items.
Of course.
With a slight exception for Book of Thoth, because Book of Thoth already had higher mana to int conversion, but you already generally get more int and more mana on int items, so it was like really, really double dipping. So you're going to see a decreased base intelligence in the Book of Thoth, as well as decreased mana, and a little touch to that mana conversion into int, because it's
that's a huge freaking nerf, dude. That's not a little nerf. That's a huge nerf.
And then the last of those is Gauntlet of Thieves.
And then Gauntlet of Thieves is going to be nerfed as well. And I got to put a couple. Pawn and I, we got to put a couple asterisks on this one, because like this one just was wildly OP.
Yeah.
But we know that a lot of people were saying tanks did not feel effective in the patch. So we want to say, like, even though this one's being nerfed because this was like super mega mandatory. If you didn't buy it first, you were trolling.
This was about 2x effective compared to
2.7 or something items worth of stats
compared to like every other item in the game. And so it became a you must build this or you are actually not going to be able to play.
Right. So this one's getting nerfed to be actually more in line and more reasonable amount of stats that you would want as a tank. You still might want this item, but to let it better compete with the other items. And then a lot of the other things we mentioned today are DPS nerfs. Virtually every other change you're going to see today are burst damage nerfs, and we have a bunch of other tank item buffs.
Yes.
So overwhelmingly, this patch is a tank buffing patch.
Yeah.
But this one little, asterisk is on here, because if we left this in place, like, there just was a very hard path to get to balance.
Yeah, our goal was this item should still feel good to buy, but it shouldn't feel mandatory anymore. And we've done a lot of other tank buffs so that other tank items that felt underwhelming feel good. And we also have, as you're about to see, a whole bunch of things that are going to directly affect how effective people are at killing tanks.
Right, so the next section, segues right into this. Thanks, Pawn.
Yeah.
Penetration items. So we're nerfing a bunch of penetration items.
There's a lot of them.
Again, most of this came from a lot of the Smite 1 ported items being ported over all at once. They brought a lot of sources of penetration and very high amounts. So many of these items are going to see adjustments to that. So
let's dive in.
Titan's Bane, decreased cost and decreased pen. Obsidian Shard, decreased cost and decreased pen. Serrated Edge, decreased cost and decreased pen. And Spear of Desolation, decreased cost, decreased pen. Yeah, so 5% pen off of all those items.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in a lot of cases, the builds that people are really building that are very optimal right now, they are now just 10% pen less, which is a pretty substantial amount of DPS loss, especially against tankier targets.
Right. And in most of these cases, we didn't adjust the passives, and we feel like, well, 2 of them don't have passives, but we're doing a bit of a shift here, not just a true nerf. So they will be a little cheaper.
Honestly, I haven't really screwed with the items, so none of this, I'm like, whatever, dude.
A lot of these types of items people do.
I use the computer-generated auto builds right now.
Oh, yeah.
So
because I hate dealing with that damn store.
Top-end, like, full pen build, people were usually building at least 2 of these. Many builds would include Spear and Gem, Shard, or Titans and Serrated, right? So you're losing 10 pen from those builds from building each of these. So,
overall, period.
Right. It all stacks up.
All right. Spear of Desolation we just talked about. So Hydra's Lament up next.
Yeah, this is not a pen item, even though I should have reordered this. That's my bad. There's a few other pen items, but this is just another extremely popular, powerful item. So just seeing a base strength nerf on this, and I think we were
that works so freaking strong on
this one.
Okay.
So no shift
on freaking Thanatos.
No shift, just nerf. All right. So now we're into the Crusher.
Yes, so let's see. This is now we're into kind of like, this is a section like Hydras and Crusher and stuff are bonus proc items. So bonus proc on Hydra was really strong, so nerfing the base stats. Crusher bonus proc is really strong.
I'm just waiting for them to fix the auto builds. Once they give us auto builds,
so just a little
then you'll start seeing more videos.
Builds are out there doing work.
I mean,
lurking.
Yeah.
Speaking of
once they fix the input lag, then I'll play them more. Even if they don't fix the auto builds. So I'll test various different builds, and then I'll do videos for Smite 2 for builds. Because they might never give us auto builds, right? But for right now, the game for me is not fun to play. It makes it very difficult because when I try doing combos, the freaking delays so much, I don't even like playing the game.
That should be
it aggravates me.
It should still feel pretty good, but it shouldn't just absolutely destroy someone walking forward.
Right. So as we see, like we get to the future, there's not a specific Loki nerf.
Yeah.
That's because we felt like he got hit so hard with a lot of other anti-burst stuff, map pacing stuff, snowball stuff, and these items. So he doesn't have a direct targeted nerf. But there are still some gods who do.
Eventually, once
Loki
they
just
start
the one who was like
doing
most susceptible to
bigger
all these other changes,
fixes,
so he doesn't have a targeted god.
And because right now it'd be pointless. I can do a video today. If I would have done a video last week, everything I did a video on would have been not even good anymore with this change right here. You know what I'm saying? So there's going to be a lot of big changes early because we're in alpha, right?
We know
but as things start tapering out and they start fixing things better, their long-term fixes, you'll probably start seeing more videos come out. I'll start doing videos then.
Movement speed on the passive.
Yeah.
But I just don't want to do videos just to do videos that I know is going to be outdated 2 days after I do it. You know what I'm saying?
Too strong.
It's pretty much pointless.
Too much stat with the crit.
I guess I lied. We do have one other support nerf out here. The
Amanita Charm.
Amanita Charm. The most, another super must-buy, super powerful team item. So slight decrease here on the total all active effect. But as I said earlier, with the active items, we're going to keep.
I'm the North American East.
The right power level, but this one
was
definitely
on the right server.
Mandatory, right? At one point in one of the tournaments that we see like the 4 mushroom team or something like that.
A solid build path.
So, sorry, had to be. It's the tears with the gun meme. It's like, sorry, supports had to do it.
And it's only certain gods, right? I see it on Cuckoo is the worst.
I put this one on here because
it's not bad at all. Any of the melee gods are not bad. It's usually the range gods.
Upgrade of War Flag.
Range hunters, range gods. Cuckoo is really bad. His 1 and 3 is really bad.
The other upgraded, the heroism starter. Yeah. It just listed those stats wrong. So this is technically just a bug fix.
But probably get wrong to full release.
Well, War Banner sucks because it doesn't get any stats. When
there's going to be a lot
more
changes early on.
But a lot of
and
people
then it'll
thought
start
it was
tapering down, just like anything, right?
They weren't sure.
So that's what I'm saying. The first
it was a UI
month, the first 30 days.
Yeah, we're not doing too much starter item changes.
There's going to be a lot of changes, and then it's going to start doing every 3 weeks. You'll start seeing a change.
It's definitely something.
Once they get into that every 3-week pattern, that's going to be easier to do
across
stuff.
The board was like overperforming the most was Bluestone and the upgrade.
Yes.
So we didn't want to nerf Bluestone and buff Axe and create like an overcorrection.
Yeah, kind of a,
we're also like globally affecting pen with all the pen items.
Right now, so they're going to have 2 new gods every 3 weeks. Is what I was told.
Make sure that we're hitting the things that need to be adjusted. But
so that means 2 big updates every 3 weeks. The way I'm understanding it.
See how this all resolves, and that informs us of our next steps.
We have heard that Axe maybe is still a little underpowered, potentially even with this change going into effect on Bluestone. And we'll want to do a little bit closer look at some of the other starters and see if anything.
But
stands
I play
out,
Smite 2 a lot.
As, 2 stacked
off stream. You know what I'm saying?
Because it's pretty clean, like 2 per
casually. Because I'm trying to get certain things leveled up. I got certain goals I want.
That was
Plus, I like testing various different gods, very different builds.
Both the first and the second tier of the
it's
item.
not there for content
the final
yet.
item that we're talking about in this section, Bloodbound Book, getting a little bit of a shift.
Yeah, this is a shift, and we've seen a few more reports of other issues like this, so there'll be more of these, but we're trying to avoid issues where you could decrease the number of stats you get from upgrading an item. Because the new system makes that possible in a lot more ways. So Bloodbound Book actually needed to have 15% lifesteal in order to do that. And in order to get lifesteal is really powerful.
And I have no issues with the gods, and I have no issues with the items, really. I knew the items were going to be changing left and right, but that input lag, dude, that for me is a deal breaker. Until they fix that, I can't play that game. I get too frustrated.
Expect to see more changes like this.
And I don't like playing a game where I get frustrated, dude.
As you go.
Awesome. Love not losing
It's just very frustrating. And it's always when there's a lot of stuff on the screen.
We're in
tank buffs.
Yeah, just lots and lots of tank buffs.
All right, well, Pharaoh's Curse be upon ye. What's going on with Pharaoh's Curse?
Yeah, so, I mean, we can just start going through this list.
Yeah, please, go for it.
We had a lot of underused items. We saw some underperforming items. Now that we're getting a lot of data from a lot of people really trying these things, we can really clearly see. And one common trend was, our tank items were just undervalued. They weren't providing what they needed to. So you're going to just see a lot here. So first off, Pharaoh's Curse, 10 extra protections, just a straight up increase of the protections that it has. Going into Leviathan's Hide, the strength debuff on the passive effect has gone from 10% to 15%. So this should be a lot more potent.
This is wild.
This can really, really mitigate the damage coming out from a target. Just gives a lot more flexibility, a more targeted counter. Spectral Armor, this goes from 35 to 60 protection. Nearly doubling. Again, we're seeing how undervalued these items were. They weren't providing what they needed to, so a pretty massive jump here.
Nice.
Hide of the Nemean Lion, I think got the crown for the least winning item. It was
the losingest tier 3 item in the game.
Yeah, I think it was.
This is where they start making stuff
15 armor as well as
stupid, right? They're starting a meta now.
It's quite prudent of us.
Because now they took away pen from softies, right? So they took away pen from magic users. They took away pen from hunters. But they're adding, doubling the defense on tanks.
You're starting to
so now it's a double dipping. So these tanks are going to have more
a lot of dual protection
armor,
items, so we need to outcompete
plus
those. If you're going to
they're going to have less pen against them. So it's like getting even more armor. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's going to play heavies. You're going to start going against 3 and 4 heavies every game now. Because people are going to start playing the meta. You know what I'm saying?
Getting a 10%.
I swear, sometimes these people don't think.
Moving on to Talisman of Purification.
Yeah.
The magical protection is gone from 30
sometimes
to
I think they don't think
just giving a bit more magical
sometimes I feel like they don't play their own game. Now, on Conquest, this might make sense because remember, in Conquest, people are playing a role, right? So they're only going to be one tank or one of this, one of that. So for Conquest, this makes 1,000% sense. For Arena, the ripple effects is catastrophic, dude. Because now, what are we going to do? You're going to try playing, your standard crew, and then you're going to be going against 3 or 4 tank crew. You know what I'm saying?
Extra health on
and
there, but also the
people are going to pick the gods with the heaviest gods with the most CC, and they're just going to beat them up. You ain't going to be able to kill them. It's going to be Smite 1 all over again. A Smite 1 chain CC all over again, dude.
Scepter of
that's it for the tank ones.
That is
it was going to turn to 5 tanks versus 5 tanks. You're right.
Still tanky.
I mean,
tanks.
Now, granted, there's not even 5 tanks in the game yet, but you can make anybody a tank, right?
Including your own team.
So fun.
That has now been cut in half. This item will be a lot
more
more
silly, dude.
Frequent.
I swear, sometimes
I love that.
They should make Arena its own game, dude. They should make Arena its own game. They should call it Smite Arena and make it its own individual game. And I would play that and actually cover that.
Yeah.
Onto Wish Granting Pearl. This one is the, I believe it's the health and
being tied to conquest is just always screws us over.
Stats are just a little bit inefficient together. So giving it that extra intelligence so that it really stands out feels really potent when you build it, and you're trying to play that kind of more bruiser intelligence user role.
Awesome.
Onto Golden Blade. The recipe cost has been decreased, allowing you to get this for 100 gold cheaper. So just a little bit easier to pick up, a little bit easier to curve into your build.
Golden Blade in Smite 2 scales off of the bonus damage scales off of protections.
Yes.
You really kind of leaned into making it like a warrior item because that's where we saw it a lot more recently in Smite 1.
Yeah.
Which will be better now with all the increased
So
protection
yeah,
units.
getting this a little bit cheaper makes sense because people always want it early game, and we had to kind of reassess the value of that passive. So like making it a little bit cheaper here without adjusting the stats just effectively tells you like we were trying to make the gold cost match the level of strength that passive has.
And then finally, Mystical Mail, we've shifted the damage from a kind of flat all the time to a 20 plus 1.5 per level. So you'll see this actually ends up being a lot stronger late game.
Yeah.
Significantly stronger late game, but in the early laning phase, by the time you actually buy this item, you've probably mostly gotten past the point where this would be weaker. So this is mostly a buff to the item overall.
Yeah, I don't think I think they were already mentioned it by now. To tell you the truth,
but later in the game.
Yeah, and by then you just get
I think we're gonna get screwed on this deal.
At the break-even point, and then you're just gonna be a lot stronger from then on out.
Yeah, nice. Well, a very concise, a very good section. A lot of good changes. Like I said, tanks are eating right now. But we have more to talk about still. That is not it. We have gods to talk about, and we're better to talk about gods
finally,
than the new
an
to
hour.
Smite 2 category.
How long? An hour and 15 minutes into it, and they're finally talking about the gods.
So as y'all might have picked up from us talking about it and us being in game as Amaterasu, we have two new gods coming, Amaterasu and Nuwa. But I guess we'll start with Amma. So, Pine, I bet you.
I know a thing or two about that guy.
Okay,
that's up to him.
Maybe not.
And I can't. I think it's so funny that I forgot my sweatshirt today.
What do you mean? She just can't be in two places.
It was a busy morning. Okay, I'm sorry. Shows are on Thursdays now instead of Wednesdays. I'm not going to blame anyone, but
we are in the Wild West.
It's my own fault, but you know we love this goddess. So here she is.
Yeah, Amma at last.
The one time he should have wore his sweatshirt, right? Like somebody was saying earlier.
Updated card art, updated ability icons, so you can see a bit of that card art update in the avatar image at the bottom left and on the mini map and the team bar. So then let's just talk about the kit changes, or I forget how do we do.
We'll just fire off the abilities.
Yeah, fire off all the abilities.
Let's just get the demo first.
We'll talk.
Yeah, you said it earlier.
Notice stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't play her enough to see any changes, dude. I mean, maybe the heal over time. Does she have that in Smite 1? I don't remember having a heal over time.
Real Amma fans see that one right away.
Yep.
All right,
so let's get into kind of what changed between Smite 1 and Smite 2 for Amaterasu.
All right, so the new features for Amaterasu in Smite 2 are first on her ability 1, Divine Presence.
Okay.
So now there's an additional buff that players will get when the buff is activated. So you can see in the 2 bullet points, the gold buff will provide a health shield for 6 seconds.
Oh, she does have a heal level?
Persistent movement speed aura.
Okay.
And the red buff will provide a attack speed buff for 6 seconds and the persistent int and strength aura. So like we wanted to do something with the AO1 to make it a little bit more meaningful when you activated it.
Yeah.
So instead of just kind of spamming it on cooldown for the heal, or instead of kind of just like toggling it and leaving it in movement speed mode because that's OP, it still is OP. So it's still probably the right decision in some places. But we wanted to actually reward the Amaterasu players who were actually changing stances. And then so what it is, it's an instant AoE that hits you and your teammates at the moment you change stance.
Okay.
So if you hit a bunch of allies, you will give them this little health shield. It's a relatively small health shield, but it does scale off of Amma's max health. So if you're building more full tank Amma, which she can kind of be played as a fringe support, you're going to give people a bigger shield, and she also gets the shield as well.
Yeah.
Or when you switch to red stance, you will give yourself and all allies around you an attack speed aura. So instead of just toggling to it early, you wait until everyone's grouped around the fire giant, then activate it so you can get that attack speed burst and the int and strength burst.
And the only difference is it's not passive. You have to trigger.
The other interesting thing about this AO1
I think it's only
red stance is that int and strength buff.
It's only for a few seconds when you change stance.
So if you build a tank,
so it's kind of a carrot to make you change stance, not stay in one stance the whole
or
time.
Intelligence build.
That's what it sounds like.
You'll get a better strength and int aura to give to your allies.
Yeah, I can see that. This is a temporary.
And we've already seen some in the flash test and ambassador testing, like full int Amma gets like crazy numbers. Like you can build full int Amma and you can do decent damage. You'll be squishy. Your basic attacks won't be good, but you'll give your teammates, what was it, like I think like 150
that's insane.
Int,
yeah,
and like 100 strength
yeah.
from the aura just being next to them. So you can kind of be like it's like a completely new playstyle for the character. We did, so she is, I forgot to do like the high level intro stuff, but she deals only physical damage, but she does have strength and int scaling.
Okay.
So she will play her
So is it everlasting or does it run out?
Solo laner, bruiser build very well still, but we kind of give her some new options for scaling that involve a more support style through tankiness and intelligence. So that's the difference.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's fading off.
It works the same as Smite 1. 3 attacks.
So like you said, it's just like oh no, it did fall off.
People take damage from all sources.
Okay, it does wear off after a while.
Those are all the changes on the AO1. Good admitted. That's where a lot of the changes are.
Yeah, it's just a few seconds. Okay.
Now
that's a little bit more fair, right?
She gets while the mirror is charging scales up with intelligence, and the mirror damage also scales with strength and intelligence. Actually, scales higher off intelligence. So if you're full int Amma, your mirror shots become like actual like mage abilities.
Are your damage?
Yeah. Not quite actual mage abilities. I guess that's a little overspeaking. It's a little higher than the strength version.
Yeah.
The charge, as in Smite 1, only doubles the base damage when you charge it.
Yeah, if it was permanent, dude, it would be like so OP, dude. It would be hell. I was gonna say, hell, this is some BS.
But it makes them meaningful, and it makes it that kind of like we did with Chalk and Odin. Like you have to be able to still deal damage with those int builds. It can't be pure utility scaling, or it's not really good enough.
Yeah.
And one other thing is there's a feels change on this one, which is we've allowed this to be fired a lot more quickly. There's some inconsistencies.
I'm really looking forward to New Wall, though. I think New Wall is going to be an awesome addition.
I can pretty reliably just quick fire this, which feels really, really
good.
What's
up, Blue?
It lets you have a lot more control over this effect, which feels really nice.
Yeah, if you're looking for that, enemy's getting away, you need that last second, last hit. You just fire it off real quick and have.
And keep in mind, dude, this is alpha. The actual
ability
game
3,
has not come out yet.
Any changes to ability 3?
This is a public alpha. They want your feedback. We're still developing this game. The game has not finished being. We're making this pie. We're making this cake, right?
Most of the
and you need to give them the feedback on what color icing you want. You know what I'm saying? What flavor of filling you want. You have to give them that feedback so we get the awesome cake at the very end for our birthday, right? That's how it is.
Oh no,
you guys don't give them no feedback.
No, so you can't desync the.
Nothing's gonna change.
Yeah, that's the way.
It's just gonna be me crying for auto builds.
Possible changes here, but we didn't like it.
They're gonna say, Darkgarza, shut the hell up about these damn auto builds, dude.
Awesome.
And the ultimate has the last new feature, which is the third attack of the ultimate. Now hits a big circle sweep attack.
Yeah, the full swing.
Yeah. So you have to hit a god, just like Smite 1, you have to hit a god for it to progress to the next, or not a god, have to hit a target for it to progress to the next stance. It's going to do increasing damage from the first, the second, to third hit. It's going to do just damage, and then damage plus slow, and then damage plus stun on the third hit. But now this third hit is that full circle sweep. It is a little bit longer animation time, so it maybe is a little bit of a trade-off.
That's very interesting. So that means you can stun everybody around you.
Yeah. It'll slow you down a little bit.
So here's my question: can you do a ding ding and then blink and then do the circle?
A few of the other changes
I wonder if that'll
made
work.
Here was to kind of let Amma. She always did that anyway. She was kind of like a. She might struggle a little bit in the early game or need the jungle to come by a few more times than another solo laner, but then you get to the mid to the late game, she's like a powerhouse.
Yeah, she pops off.
So we're really leaning into making sure her team fight in Smite 2 is like really memorable, and that's kind of like what sets her aside from the other warriors, the other solo laners, so they don't all feel, too similar. So
yeah, of course.
Really trying to make her unique.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I wish they would try it to see if it works.
Really playing up those.
Because dude, then you just prep it.
New skill.
Because they said
timing on
you have to hit 2 targets. So does that work for minions too? So if you can you like start on 2 minions and then blink into a team fight and then stun everybody?
Oh, there it is. I was just thinking
that'd be interesting to see.
The third hit into the middle.
I'm gonna have to test that.
Goes incredibly hard, and all of that isn't even a commentary on how beautiful this looks, or like Amaterasu looks moved into Smite 2. Like obviously our team has done a lot of work to bring the character from that old engine into the new engine, and the effects look beautiful and the character looks beautiful. So
yeah, the shield's nice and gold like the sun.
Yeah.
Also her clothing has like actual like the clothing's a missive itself, which is cool.
That is really cool.
To me, dude, that stun feels like it lasts forever, man.
As well. I mean, did you just say that? Sorry.
Yep.
There was something. Sorry, there was something else I was gonna say. No, I forgot it. It's okay. But Yeah, we're trying to keep a lot of the Smite 1 parody here, a lot of Smite 1 feels, the polish.
Oh, you might not get that second hit off
just
him.
add some unique things here in a few key places.
It looks like it has a pretty good AoE around him too.
Oh, the passive meter, did you touch on that? It's like, it's updated art, but it still functionally shows what you're used to. It shows the stance you're in. And it shows the mirror charge.
Well, it looks like it might be.
It's all of a sudden it's broken. Maybe we cooldown cheated it too much.
Yeah, I think I cooldown cheated it too much, unfortunately.
It will show. Don't worry about that.
Just dev things.
Just dev things.
Was there anything else?
Was there anything else? That was going to be my question for you.
Oh, and see, she is CC immune when she's into her ult.
Into a god.
So if she gets hit with that Ares thing, she can ult herself and keep her from getting pulled in. Same thing, you know what I'm saying? I just saw that because she started doing our ult. It said CC immune on the top. That's pretty cool.
We're aware of that. We're still looking into fixes.
That's pretty
not
cool.
For this patch, but probably a future patch. But it can result in, if
Which
almost
makes
right on top
sense,
of someone,
I guess.
you might feel like you're going to hit them, but you dash through them, which I know is something that people like historical complaint about this goddess they really want us to fix.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've only played her maybe a
experience
handful
that.
of times,
known.
dude. I don't even remember her attacks.
The god body blocking issue, not so much the dash issue.
Okay.
So you might encounter that rarely, or at certain gods like Mordred, his interact dash.
Yeah.
Things like that are really tight on collision and people dashing through each other, you might like feel like you dash through someone, but it is like overall, I think, really clean upgrade of the character. And a lot of these pain points we were aware of in Smite 1, we're hyper aware of in Smite 2, and making sure we don't reintroduce and make sure those bugs are fixed.
Awesome. Well, and as always, too, we'll be looking for y'all's feedback once this goes live. We're looking for people to play Amma. If you have that bug, let us know so we can continue looking at those instances and why it happened. But otherwise, just let us know how the character feels, especially if you played Amma a lot in Smite 1. Knowing how this character feels in Smite 2 is going to be really helpful for us because we can continue to refine that experience and stick to the strictly better mantra that we have.
The Queen of Pain, Nuwa, the Queen of Help from above. Let's go.
We have Nuwa as well joining the Smite 2 crew.
Yep.
So yeah,
this god's got a lot of new stuff.
Yeah, Nuwa.
Amaterasu was perfect. She didn't really need anything, but we wanted to give it to her anyway, right?
Yeah, just because we love her.
But
Nuwa got some nice buffs.
Nuwa got some as correct me if I'm wrong, as the most played god in Smite.
That is true. As of the most recent stats, Nuwa is the most played, the most individual play minutes total in Smite 1.
Yeah,
dedicated to Nuwa. More than Neith.
But
more than Kukulkan.
Yeah, crazy to think of,
the
right?
most played character in the game.
It's because she's awesome.
Most fair way of measuring that.
She's awesome.
Yeah. But we looked at that and said that's cool. We still think that we can make some really fun, impactful changes, and that's what we have here. So, are we able to? You good for us to hop in game?
Yeah, we can hop in game.
Yeah, Nuwa got some nice buffs.
Stuff. A lot of the stuff might not be as obvious, but we'll go into them again.
Yeah, again,
intelligence and strength by using regular attacks.
Let's see the kit.
Let's just do this first. Okay,
let's get them.
Oh.
Dude, just the effects.
We're just gonna keep.
Yeah, her ult's still weak as hell,
I'm
but
still hitting from really far away. That's crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah, but that buff right there extends your basic attack. It's ridiculous.
With Nuwa.
Okay, so Nuwa mainly has. Nuwa really wants to focus now on the kind of 5 strengths of the elements that she has within her kit. So that's wood, that's water, that's earth, that's metal, and that's fire. And each one now has some adjustments to it. So the first one is Strength of Wood. That was her original passive where after 5 auto attacks,
I got your back way back.
That's now cooldown based. So after 15 seconds, your next attack will just immediately fire and it will root.
Yeah.
So you can see that was that there, and it's building up.
Nice.
Every successful auto attack will jump that up more and more. So as you successfully auto attack more,
that's awesome.
You'll get that more and more frequently, and you'll be able to root again. That's
both.
Yes. So that's its first change. It has some interactions with the other parts of the kit. We'll go through each individual strength, and I'll kind of show you how they combine.
All right.
The next strength, the Strength of Water. So this is the strength that she gets when she's used her fog ability. And this one is just a buff that she and her allies get. They get her move speed, and you can see that it actually persists quite a bit outside of that.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow! So you get the movement speed outside of
it. More just kind of this buff that she brings. Not too much different than what we saw before.
This is a shout out to the old. There's a couple hidden things here. Shout outs to her old kit, her old kit.
Yes.
So you keep the movement speed outside of the cloud. That's freaking
Strength
awesome.
Earth is granted, and you can see your passive meter updates as she gets each of these strengths.
Yeah.
Strength of Earth. Previously, these minions, when they charge and locked onto a target and dashed at them, ignore that they're doing some stuff with cooldowns. They'll do some weird things with cooldowns. But it used to be that charge would give a penetration to the target. It would actually shred their armor. She now just gets Strength of Earth, which grants her immediately pen that she can use on anyone.
Okay.
It's no longer tied to the minions actually having to attack someone. Yeah. She just gets that benefit out the box.
And did you mention that on Mysterious Fog, if allies step through
so I wonder if that combines with her ult.
Okay, sorry.
I'm reading chat. Everyone that ults hit, they get that penetration on them.
Awesome.
That's going to be interesting.
So those would just allow the movement speed buff and that penetration just makes it a lot more accessible.
Or if it's just for a basic attack.
Now, the next biggest change is going to be on Shining Metal. You fire it, it does the things you expect. It blows up the minions that charge forward. It does the things that you know. But you can see that I actually have a Strength of Metal buff. Yeah. And with Strength of Metal, it turns my auto attacks into AoE auto attacks.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh, wow.
So this opens up, just immediately opens up a whole bunch of different build varieties. But two of the main things are each successful auto attack lets Strength of Wood come up sooner, which includes the
AoEs.
The AoE.
So you triple
AoE
stacking the speed of the root.
Okay,
you're getting the root a lot more quickly, and it will
do
spread
AoE
the
root?
root itself. So that's how I was able to root all the other Ymirs around.
Yeah.
And
wow, it becomes like a Scylla AoE root.
Does it consume on fire or on hit?
It consumes on fire.
On fire. Okay, so that's the
man.
It still consumes on fire. When your root is up, you got to make your next attack count.
Yeah,
If
don't
you
miss.
It's gone.
Man.
Yep.
Okay, sorry, chat wanted clarification. Thank you, Pon.
And then the final one, which is after you ult, you get Strength of Fire. The ult works very similarly. It does damage, globally reveals targets, hits everyone on the map. But now I have Strength of Fire, and this now turns
freaking garbage CC, man.
Very, very long range.
For real.
Yeah, that's
look at the range on
say,
that, dude.
It's something along the lines of like 40% or 50%.
So you got the Ishtar, her Ishtar 3 range.
Again.
So now,
she got Scylla root, Ishtar range.
So if you were to do things like Strength of Earth, ult, you get the pen for this ult, which is really, really good.
Oh, so you do get the pen with the ult, like I said.
You now have super long range AoE auto attacks that could root if you hit enough people and throw that out. These all stack on top of each other. So the base kit largely functions identical. You have the standard combo that everyone really likes to use. You have the fog.
This is craziness.
Combo. You got the global ult. But now you just have this whole new loop layered on top of the in-hands.
Yeah.
And you get to do a lot of really neat things combining these different effects. It's very reminiscent of Old WoW. Yeah. Old WoW had a lot of these different in-hand augmenting things, and so we tried to take a lot of that inspiration and bring it onto this kit to give her kind of a loop within her gameplay loop. That it's gonna be interesting to see how people flex with, if in-hand builds become really good with her, or if these are just really nice bonuses to have as you're just playing standard new WoW.
Yeah. Absolutely crazy, and like you said, crazy that so many old WoW features look similar in new WoW, back and forth all the time. But it's a whole nother layer to the gameplay, which I think is exciting. And I mean, I'd like to see this make her a little more competitively viable as well. You know, I think that being able to like really learn the finesse of all of the different in-hands will help this character shine in a totally different light while still being super.
I really like the ability of that having that root
on top of that
on a timer and not
at least
just
right now.
How many hits? I think that's
we are
really
gonna
cool.
let these gods into ranked immediately. No
Open
ban
the doors.
window. We know people want more gods, so why would we ban ones in ranked that we just released for you?
Yeah.
Right? If there are any major bugs, they might be temporarily disabled.
Yeah, of course.
But the goal is out the gate is to let them immediately enter the draft pool for ranked conquest.
That makes sense.
Because we know people are hungry for that.
Yeah, we know y'all want more gods, and we're trying to get them to you.
Yeah, I don't have too much other concrete evidence, things to talk about on that, but I did want to shout it out.
I want to try her out now.
So thanks,
I want to play her in the
wild.
wild.
We're seeing a lot of discussion about the gods and which ones you want. We appreciate all of you having those conversations.
Now, keep in mind, her ult's still weak.
We're not going to make any official announcements right now.
But look at that. Look at the range on. Oh, and she crit with it.
We are looking at which gods we might be able to do sooner versus later.
So
how
she
we might
can
be able
crit
to
with
get
her
even more
attack
out faster.
too. So attack speed
all
buff.
Those types of things are in progress. We are
with crit.
working towards those. The spoiler
now she
list
became
that's been going around is not fully accurate. You know, even before we started planning changes, it was not fully accurate. It was not
and
that
then
far off,
add
but it wasn't fully
Polynomicon
accurate,
to the
so,
mix, dude.
we
man.
are, taking that seriously. We are making 3-week patches, so 2 gods through 3 weeks is a relatively quick pace, but we're going to see if we can do it faster. Like we're going to do our best to do that.
We're always listening to y'all's major feedback points, and we are trying to action them.
Like machine
that's
gun,
the funny
right?
thing about spoilers is spoilers might it's like, oh wow, I found the spoiler, but it's like things change here like weekly, almost daily.
Yeah, and that's why I haven't been doing videos, because things change this so early that things change so much, man.
Was to, build this game.
There's going to be too many changes.
We are open to change. The game changed a lot between true alpha weekends and closed alpha 1.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And now that we're in closed alpha 1, we're working towards free to play, and we have a different player base coming in again to give us more feedback, and we are going to keep pivoting as we need.
And make sure you guys are giving them the feedback, man. Make sure you're giving that feedback.
Every release,
for sure.
And we're going to try to make as many as we can, as fast as we can, without making major mistakes.
Yeah, without making the game unplayable.
One thing, just to circle back, because I realized we forgot in the same way we did on models. We didn't actually say what type of scaling she uses.
Fair.
Yuwa is a deals magical damage.
Yeah.
And she is an int scaling character. So she scales just off int.
Full magical, full int.
You obviously see there's a lot of in-hand potential. You could flex around with that as well, but everything is largely int scaling based.
How's the crit Nuwa been doing in internal playtesting, Pon?
I think everyone's just been favoring the standard I drop a clay soldier on someone and blow them up instantly.
It is good.
That's very effective. It's hard to compete with that level.
Yeah, the old gold. All right, cool. But like you said, we're making a lot of gods fun and exciting, but some of them a little too fun and exciting. So let's get into some balance, starting with a few nerfs, actually. So Mordred.
There you go. Mordred is going to get hit, dude. Mordred is so OP right now.
Mordred's not that OP.
No.
So he's getting some smaller nerfs here just to his passive.
Yeah.
Slowing down his wrath gain. Yeah,
he had a passive amount that he was getting that's lowered, and then just the amount he's getting for when he deals damage is a little bit lower, just to lower the frequency of that charge ult.
The scary heartbeat ult. Yeah,
right.
Got it. All right.
That thing is terrifying.
It is terrifying. So Ares up next, been a little strong recently, so getting a nerf.
Yeah, so even though we talked a lot, or Pon, I'll let you talk about Ares, but before, just high level, we talked about tank.
He just contradicted me in real time.
And tank as an archetype.
Yeah.
But there's still some tanks that we need to nerf, and usually there are some specific damage features of tanks we need to nerf. I saw one being talked about a lot in the chat. We're talking about it. Don't worry, we're going to talk about it too. But go ahead.
I know which one you're thinking of.
So Ares, just Blessed Armaments is this aura that he really provides a lot of strength and intelligence to his team.
Oh yeah.
This is kind of like an invisible level of power that makes him very, very effective. And so rather than just nerf it, because it was causing him to be very successful, we wanted to nerf the amount that he gives to other people, but keep the amount he gives to himself at 100%. Okay. So his internal strength will remain unchanged, but the amount that he's actually buffing his team is gonna go down, just to make sure that it is this constantly on effect, providing a lot of power. Still very, very effective, just going to be a bit more reasonable.
That makes sense. So again, New God Broken, Jingwei coming up next with some nerfs and a little bit of a fix to
He's
agility.
super strong, dude.
Big
Super
fix
strong.
/ buff, which is hard to put. We wanted to get it in there anyway, even though by most accounts this is the strongest god in the game right now.
Yeah, she's super strong, dude.
So we're doing a couple different nerfs. So let's see. That's a fix, so just a text fix. Explosive bolts cooldown increase. We know that the explosive bolts is a big point of discussion for her.
For sure.
That was her new feature though, so we don't just want to rip that right out. So we're looking at some nerfs to it. Her ability 3 is going to be adjusted in its the agility. Adjusted this ability so the speed of the dash is specifically to make it feel more like Smite 1.
Got it.
You'll still be able to control it, but we making that faster, snappier, what it was intended to be really. And we added another text fix for there, and then airstrike damage. So the real direct nerfs to Jingwei is the cooldown and the damage on the ult, and many item nerfs.
Yeah, a variety.
Specifically the crit damage, which this is the most crit using god.
Yeah, if this feels light, that's kind of why, right? A lot of the build path for her is being directly affected, and so she's going to be coming down just as a result of naturally, let alone anything.
Allergies kicking up.
Similar to how we spoke about Loki earlier.
Yes.
So, awesome.
Pon, are we going to show anything else in game?
I don't think so, unless you have anything specific you want to see.
Go back to the front end, and maybe let's go look at Amaterasu and Nuwa's mastery.
I guess I'm allergic to freaking nerfs.
Ooh, good idea.
Just a quick look if they're there.
Yeah.
It'll have to be careful on Pon switching screens.
Yes, I am very scared about that.
Just only go to the one screen and don't press anything. You'll be fine.
Do not switch to me right now.
Don't go to Pon yet until we say. All right, who's our next god?
Spoilers. Ymir. We have Ymir on the list.
Oh yeah, Ymir doing very well as one of the tanks. His damage from we really wanted to push that face punch Ymir to make sure it was good.
Dude, Ymir is pretty strong too, man. Ymir is definitely pretty strong.
A little bit more on the strength side than the int side. So we still want him. If you build some int, we want Ymir to feel it. We did some adjustments with his ult and stuff like that in previous patches to make sure. I saw some clips of people literally one-shotting each other with full int Ymir.
Yeah.
So we did not nerf the passive bonus basic attack. This is essentially the bonus basic attack damage he's getting.
Yeah.
And
if this looks light to you because it's a small percentage change, again, crit adjustment, that's going to massively affect
the items will be doing a lot of leg work.
Right. So some nerfs to that.
Ymir is so deadly.
I know was wreaking havoc.
Once he hits you with that frostbite or his breath, it's like game over, dude.
So we nerfed the damage from Chug. It's scaled up to 80. It's now just going to stop at 60.
is pretty OP too.
So that's a 20% scaling nerf. It's a pretty big scaling nerf. And belly flop is also getting a pretty big scaling nerf. From
you're a sitting duck. Once he knocks you up with that belly flop, he can hit you like
40.
3
Yeah, the amount of damage that
and if he has crit is ridiculous.
Is just too high. We want when you build pure tank that you do enough damage to impact a fight in a meaningful way. Like you feel like you.
Hey, what's up, Kenzie?
But this was you were able to like actually.
They were. I was getting absolutely belly flopped. So. So the Morgan would be next on the list, moving away from tanks a little bit.
Yeah, so this is Doomsayer is the passive that went on the next the final auto attack. She does the AoE and this applies the % health damage. We made this actually affect everything because it's kind of weird that it affects some things and not others. Fair. But when it affected the fire giant, it did percentile health of the fire giant. And if you did things like built crit, because we also wanted it to crit because we think that's interesting and might open up some interesting avenues of play, it could crit percentile health damage the fire giant for a lot of damage. That's now been reduced by 80%.
You missed New Wall, Kenzie. They already talked about New Wall.
It's quite a bit of damage, but this should no longer allow
5 minutes too late.
Solo.
And she looks nice. New Wall looks really good.
That makes a lot of sense. So next up, our flying samurai, Susanoo, getting a nerf.
This god was, as usual, like running rampant. A lot of people who are playing high-end ranked, this was one of the top picks, probably the second top pick after Jingwei. So yeah, just 2 straightforward damage scaling numbers. He's going to be heavily affected by the item nerfs as well.
She's going to be,
but we wanted to make sure
she's going to be fun. I'm telling you right, everybody's going to be wanting to play her on Tuesday. She looks like she's going to be fun.
He's got so much utility, CC, and damage.
She has so many new abilities. Just that range one by itself, it's going to be nice.
Makes a lot of sense. So we've nerfed the nerfs. Now we have some buffs that we're going to talk about.
That's it for the nerfs. And if any god that, wasn't on there that you really feel like needs nerfs.
All right, let's buff the coop.
We tried our best to convey that we think the items will probably affect them in some way. But, there might be some more that needs to happen. I think this patch is going to change a lot. So we'll see if Bacchus needs more nerfs, if Loki needs more nerfs. Those are things we'll be certainly looking really closely at. And the gods we're about to talk about in the buffs, the few that didn't get buffs,
give Zeus a shield.
Are going to be,
Zeus a shield. Give Zeus a shield.
The better gods getting nerfs, and and mages specifically not getting nerfed nearly as hard as
Zeus's
hunters,
number 2 is so bad. I hate it.
So
I hate it.
If you don't see your favorite god on the buff patch, keep in mind the item changes might help them, and we'll be definitely looking closely at them for next patch.
Yeah, looking for that feedback like always, and just those hard numbers. So just play games, and
It's crazy that right now with the reset on the new game, it's like we can almost discuss every single god in the game, every single patch notes. Like we're getting close to them all just through today. Not literally every one, but like we're close to it. So I just wanted to shout out those last few that aren't mentioned. All right, let's see some buffs.
All right, so CERN getting a buff.
Yeah, this is a big one.
Yeah, Bramble Blast.
Root and Cripple now coming back. We had taken it away. We're giving it back.
Easy as that.
It's a good counterplay item, right? It's a skill shot. It's narrow, but it has a really strong counter effect. It's like it feels really iconic to him, so I felt it was important to bring back.
Yeah, I agree.
Makes sense, given that power. So besides the Biden, Hades also getting another buff.
Yep, Shroud of Darkness. We're going to make the fear always direct targets away from Hades. It was random before, which sometimes is favorable, sometimes it's not. But often that randomness can mean that you can't plan around it. So having this consistently available way to play around it, and generally moving people away from you is going to be a bit more effective as a whole, because you can better directly control where you want them to go. Including if you get behind, if you leap and then send them to your team.
Of course.
This is just going to be a way to better play around it, a more consistent experience.
Yeah, like you said, more predictable. So next up, we have Bologna, the warrior, the amazing warrior.
Yep. So basic attack damage.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. Bologna in Smite 2 doesn't
penalty there.
From the games I played against her, she didn't seem as deadly as Smite 1.
So that's the real buff.
So she might have needed some buffs. I'm not sure.
Passive.
I haven't played her yet, but I played against her almost every game, and I'm like, whatever, whatever.
So very, yeah. This. very early in Smite testing, we had way higher attack damage, and so the cleave, it's kind of a legacy that the cleave was even nerfed in the first place.
Yeah, she's kind of weak in Smite too.
Brought base attack damage back down a lot. Giving her full damage is good, but because of the way that was previously calculated before and how the cleave was working, especially for early testing, there was a slight error in the calculation, which meant that she wasn't dealing consistent damage on all the cleave targets.
Okay, so that makes sense because dude, she was like,
you should expect the cleave to work.
I was playing Kugu with no defense, and I was like, whatever, dude.
Awesome.
Whatever.
Video games require math, and that's scary and hard.
And math's rough.
Math is so rough.
Han, don't lie to them. They know you're a mathematician.
Yeah, 1 out of every like 4 million people. You are a shining star. Speaking of shining stars, we have Soul up next with another buff.
Wow, what a segue.
That's good. Yeah, we added the slow immunity to the initial duration of disapparate. So this is the before she turns into the solar ball that can't be damaged.
Yeah.
And that matches Smite 1. This just gives her that ability to make sure that she's not being she can kind of be evasive.
Nice.
Soul can be a pain,
my
dude.
favorite god to click on during the
Soul
beginning
can be a
of the match
pain.
lobby. Zeus.
This is a cool one, bringing the cooldown of his ultimate really low. Like,
yeah, that is cool.
Like, we don't usually go that low on ultimates. There's a few exceptions, but we're doing that for Zeus as well. Like, this just makes the alt frequency.
Yeah.
People get out of it a lot. You have to really do a lot of setup to make it good, but being able to use it a lot more often will be really strong.
I mean,
so,
that's going to help him out.
Yeah, it's one of the mages that was struggling a little bit more this patch. I think this is a
because
really cool change.
he sucks.
See where he goes. And
give him back his shield throw
crit too, which is actually pretty good.
Yeah, and the ult's visually impactful, so at least you get the glory of.
They turned him into a basic attack god. That's what makes me mad.
Neath up next, Broken Weave.
Yep. She is one of our hybrid characters where she can go either strength or intelligence.
Yeah, she works well.
The Broken Weave passive really only gave her intelligence when she did the explosion scaling damage.
Yeah.
And so this just makes it so that she also gets strength scaling as well. So when you are going the more standard kind of in-hand,
I think her ult is a little weak too.
It's just going to be.
I could be wrong, but every time I used her ult, it was only doing like 300 damage. It was like hella weak.
Sounds good. That's one of the reasons I love Neath. I love that going either build style. So.
And I think we saw like strength Neath was actually like really underperforming compared to Neath.
That's
so this
good.
also should help. Even
she needed something. I think Neath needed something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Athena up next with Reach.
No longer affected by in-hand slow when throwing Reach. This is another Smite 1 parity change, isn't it?
Yes, I believe it is.
We tried to call out as many of those as we could, but we missed it on this one. But yeah, again, just makes the passive feel better, and it feels it's what you're used to, right? So it felt just unnecessarily punishing in Smite 2.
Yeah,
so.
big Zeus,
feels more natural
sure.
to what your experience is.
Yep.
So last but not least, for God buffs, we have on her with Impale.
Yep, Impale is just getting a base damage increase. He lost a lot of base power. Some of that is because you get strength now as you level up.
Yeah.
The strength scaling contributes to it, so it's not as low as I think people were comparing between the two.
I think Anhar in Smite 1 is more powerful than Anhar in Smite 2.
Matters a lot for wave clear. Might be the difference of losing an attack.
But I think it's just because they haven't really
just helps him out overall.
Leveled them yet.
There's a lot of community feedback. That
so this is probably going to help him out a lot.
Lowest performing hunter. So
yeah, he sucks in Smite 2.
Feeling like it really is meaningful damage is one of the most important things in making on her feel strong.
Yeah, awesome.
So do we have time to go look at the god masteries real quick, Pawn? Are you in a safe screen?
I believe in a safe screen, but yes, we can go to me. But you have added the danger button at the top left, which is the I can move. So I just have to stay away from the top left of the screen.
Don't click the top
So here
left.
is Amma's mastery track. There's the shadow skin. Let's look at the trackers real quick. We'll go through it quick. Oh no, that's objectives destroyed. No, start with the ascension tracker and the far left.
The you've unlocked.
Oh, you want these? Sorry,
yeah,
I see what you mean.
The unique tracker.
Yes.
So it's the mirror kills.
Nice.
So we're gonna track how many people you've literally gotten the killing blow with on the mirror shot, which is harder than it sounds.
Yeah, no,
but it's a super swag way to kill someone with Amaterasu. So,
right.
Okay, let's go through the track.
So we got the standard objective destroyed.
Standard stuff. That's the other one. Number of times stunning at least 2 or more gods with the 3rd hit of the ultimate.
Ooh, that's really cool. That's a fun stat.
Then we have the onyx skin.
Beautiful.
We have the opal skin.
Ooh,
we have her global emote. I'll have to make sure I'm looking at chat for this one. A lot of people have been saying the opal one is one of the best ones.
Barbie.
Yes, dear.
The opal skin for Amma is like one of the best opal skins ever. This emote was a bit stressful, but I can't believe we did it. But I think it's just hilarious.
I have people I need to send this to now that it's public.
So we did intentionally make it that style, like the rough line art to look like the source material. We could have made it really clean, of course, if we wanted to, but we wanted to like actually keep the source material there. And it's just like Amaterasu's, you know, she's like so wholesome and a leader, and like you want to do what she says. So like when your Ama is giving you commands on the team, you know, this type of face, this type of motion is just like, you know, like you're trying to make an objective push and your carry is like soloing wave still at 30 minutes, and you're just like, honey, what are you doing over there?
It's
like,
lane pushing.
Group
time.
up, please. Oh, and Big Mac Boy is back. The chat is super stoked for Big Mac Boy, by the way.
True. Not very good on the rank leaderboard, but always.
All right, we have the title, the mastery, and then we have the final skin, the divine skin.
Oh, so
okay. So now we have to, before we go look at Nuwa, we have to make sure we completely close down.
Change the screen.
Back to cameras.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
It's us.
We did one. We did one without any major spoilers.
Yeah, we can get through one more. As much as I'm sure chat wants the spoilers.
Yes. Okay. I think we are good now.
I think is stressful. You need.
We're good. We're good.
Okay. Nuwa shadow skin.
Nuwa.
Nuwa tracker killed with fire. So alt kills essentially.
That's powerful stuff.
Yep.
Clay explosion.
Kills or number of times Nuwa
mean,
hit a god with multiple clay soldiers. So you have to detonate 2 or more soldiers and damage a god to get this tracker.
The whole minefield.
Arena players are going to have ridiculous numbers on those cards, and conquest players are going to be crying that
skins are looking so
arena players got way too much numbers on those cards. Watch it happen, dude. Watch. People are like that.
Yeah,
to me, I give a crap. It means nothing to me, but I guarantee you, there's going to be jealous people out there be like, "Oh, arena people got all the high numbers."
Off on all of these.
I mean, we're really leading.
That's what they're doing is
just on these emotes, honestly.
Yeah,
like,
it's
making stuff on these cards that's just going to make people bitch about one more thing.
For a goddess that rains fire down on the battleground, I feel
Heaven's Guardian, Big Mac Boy.
Heaven's Guardian.
We need a Big Mac Boy title, so I could be Big Mac Boy, or Big Mac Boy Ajax. And the divine skin. Oh, we didn't look at the border. Border.
Yeah.
But we can look at Nuwa's border.
Yeah, where can I see
that little icon above the
yeah.
Right there.
That one.
There you go. Oh, it's got the crystals.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Ama's is great. Just have to trust me. It's a nice golden shining sunlight border, obviously.
You'll see it next week. You can go check that out for yourself next week.
We're not going to spoil anything else by going out of the screen.
Yeah, so let's go back to cameras. We've been here too long.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Man, this show's getting long. We're going through it. We got to jump to god bugs.
Yeah, so now we are on to bugs next. So there's a lot of bug fix. Obviously,
I think Zeus has a bug. He can't throw a shield.
We're not going to be able to talk about all of them.
They need to fix that bug,
so
man.
many here.
I was going to pass this.
We didn't even get them all on the patch notes. I'm pretty honest.
But this actually definitely isn't the full list of bugs.
I was making additions up to today, so a lot of stuff is being fixed. Our QA team is going insane. But I think I'm going to pass this to you and let you just pick out a couple of them, because again, you can see all of them that we have able to be listed.
Did they make lower thirds for these?
Well, especially seeing how we've been streaming for almost 2 hours.
Overrun production.
No, I
Golly.
think, they do. So.
Well, we'll just go through them quickly then.
All right,
so, Pawn, you stop me if there's one you want to talk about. You know.
Yeah.
So
otherwise,
Odin.
fire through.
These are in no particular order. Odin, we upgraded the description of his passive. I think that is. We fixed an issue where he could. Lunging into phoenixes and towers would stop targeting him if he.
Yeah, so this just matches the expectation of how leap should work.
Okay.
Right. That could apply to multiple gods as well, right?
Yeah, it could. But I think he was especially broken.
Okay.
Especially.
Neith, we fixed an issue where she was fully hittable throughout her backflip leap.
Yep.
Fixed issues where she could heal off of the enemy weaves. Fixed issue where her radiant skin did not have glowing eyes. Ares ultimate fixed an issue where gods who were pulled by this ability could sometimes not be damaged and stunned. Fixed an issue where this ability had some unintentional additional casting time after Ares slams to the ground.
You couldn't auto attack for a long time after pulling people. That's been resolved, so that should feel a lot better.
Yeah, that's a big one. Mordred, we already talked about a couple of core collision fixes. Those will help some of Mordred things. Like when we're talking about gods getting stuck in walls, Mordred was certainly one of them. But fixed an issue where bled enemies tracker on his ascension pass was not counting properly. Fixed an issue where his ability near the edges of Odin's ult would cause multiple spears to instantly kill him in the air.
Yep. Leaving that could sometimes instantly kill you.
Oh, yeah.
Instantly kill you, yeah.
Fix an issue where you could ghost hit and he would fully animate but didn't actually hit. Fix an issue where you could get stuck inside of walls. And fix an issue with the sound effects being too loud when hitting minion waves.
On the hard slash, yeah.
There's probably a bunch of those types of fixes too.
I'm sure.
Kurtanos fixed an issue where polymorph was shifting shadow and radiant skin textures back to default. So he was literally polymorphing you out of a skin.
That's so good. You know what? That makes
probably people who would want that to be a real
he
ability.
hit you so hard, he made you change skins.
Fixed issues with his upper body not animating after transitioning properly into combat and out of combat.
Cool.
Hecate, Spell Eater, fixed an issue where stance swap abilities could exploit the charge of this ability.
Yep.
Makes sense. Morrigan,
Hecate is also very
an issue
strong.
where transforming into Susanoo, she get into a state where she could dash infinitely without cooldowns.
Yeah, that was great. That was a really fun one.
Wow.
Description of her marked kills tracker has been updated to better indicate how it tracks.
Cool.
Thanatos fixed it where he would not auto buy. Oh yeah, he was auto buying mana potions, so now he doesn't because he can't use them.
But
Just a flex.
Yeah, right.
Bologna fixed an issue where she didn't have any roll tabs in her item store. Jingwei, Rapid Reincarnation, fixed an issue where she could fall through the floor occasionally if with client lag while flying. Agility fixed an issue where she could T-pose if dashed into Cernunnos ultimate. Airstrike fixed collision issues where you could sometimes get into a broken state and become immune for longer. Oh, that was a big one.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a big one.
She could sometimes become just untargetable for like the rest of the game. So that was fixed.
These are so funny.
Hades,
Maybe that's
Polar
why
Agony
she was
fixed
so
an issue
damn
where
strong
Pulling
then.
targets from a knock-up could cause them to be stuck in the air.
Cool.
Yep.
Ymir fixed an issue with Shards of Ice where on quick and normal cast, mashing the ability button would instantly explode without even playing the animation.
Yeah, I also know that another one that I don't think is here is we also fixed a bunch of things relating to like it would deal like either min or max damage when you died casting it, and it would depend based off if like you were at the very end of your charge or not. Like this should just generally work better and as expected.
Got it. And now we're moving out of gods into items, but this first one is kind of a direct jab at Ymir.
Well, this one is a little bit more than just a fix, but it's a bit of both. But Circe's Hexstone, this item will no longer be able to be used while firing channeled abilities. Now, we know that we let you do this on Blink, and that's okay, because Blink didn't have the same...
That was some dev sitting here?
Hexstone art. Sorry, production.
Yeah, I'm part of it.
This one breaks animations and effects much worse than Combat Blink. So if you start channeling a Ymir ult, and then you... Circe's Hexstone, polymorph yourself, and then dash. When you come out of the polymorph, Ymir will just look normal.
Yeah.
No effects, no audio, no animation at all, and then he will explode in his ultimate. So it completely masks effects. You can use this to completely hide an Anubis ult or Anubis Breath of Locust, like a lot of things.
Yeah, I'm in Atlanta. You didn't know?
But the character will have broken the state.
Like,
so Combat Blink doesn't have this level of issue, so we'll still allow Combat Blinking during channel abilities. But this one, because of the polymorph, because the animation change, the charge state, a lot of things this item doesn't let it really work well with wildfire and channeled abilities. As much as people loved blowing people up with Ymir with it.
And the theme really is you are polymorphing yourself into a pig, which blocks you from doing things to be able to charge at people. Its theme is very different, and yeah, it does create a lot of edge cases that even had we wanted to keep it, it would change fundamentally how the game is structured at its core to support it.
Okay.
All right, let's keep going.
We have so many. Health Chalice, we already mentioned that one. Spirit Robe, we fixed an issue where this was granting additional magical protections, and it wasn't granting the proper passive, and it was incorrectly providing intelligence. Just a couple of numbers issues on Spirit Robe.
Yeah.
Soul Reaver fixed an issue with this item. I was dealing an extra tick of damage. So a nerf, a little bit of hidden soul.
That on
nerf
Kugu was working pretty dang good.
One tick.
Yeah, which is actually a pretty big nerf.
Yeah.
Eye of Providence and Golden Blade fixed issues where these were
Dude, I was
filtered with the
destroying
cooldown rate
people
filter,
with
even though
that
they do not provide
with
cooldown rate.
Cuckoo.
Scepter of Dominion fixed an issue where this item could get into broken. Oh, this one probably has.
Yeah, this one.
There's a lot of fixes with this one around getting gods into broken states. I think Chaos said there was many of them, but we just kind of summarized them into this one line.
Yep.
Soul Gem fixed an issue with this item not stacking when bought and showing the wrong buff.
Yeah, so if you bought this from nothing to full, it would break. That was
that's an interesting bug. Okay. Sundering Arc fixed an item where this would only deal 100 damage to jungle monsters and bosses at level 15 exactly.
What a specific edge
It says just a typo, right? It's supposed to do 1,000 at every one. It's using a table.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't use linear scaling, so it has to reference each number for each level individually. It's just a typo. So yeah, that's a big fix. I believe there's also a fix where that wasn't displaying a dot icon on your buff bar if you took damage, and now when you bend Sunder.
Well, the funny thing is we're all using the same mics.
We are into UI now, so it might be in here.
Fixed issues.
They got
with
SM7Bs just like me.
Properly. Fixed issues with the
they got Rode SM7Bs
at the end of screen of the end of match lobby.
I'm gonna miss this.
No more
fixed issues with the crowd. I mean, I think those bars are the end of match lobby is still very tense.
Yes.
We have a whole rework in progress, so like it's probably gonna still have some issues. And a match or fixed an issue where the crowd, arena crowd, would keep playing and cheering throughout the end of match lobby. Party queues fixed an issue where members who weren't party leader would see searching for a game time always at 0000. Arena gift text fixed the text. Ranked UI, fixed an issue with the rank displaying a blank icon when a god isn't selected for ban.
They need to get one of my mugs. What are you talking about?
Other menus during god selection ban process.
I need to send them my mugs so they can put it on their table.
An issue where console users could get stuck on certain tabs. Invite pop-ups, fix an issue where console users where the invite pop-up wasn't highlighted.
I'm right there in front of you, and you're still ignoring me. What's up with this?
And now we're into general gameplay.
Auto builds.
Stealth ability fixes. A lot of people ask for these. So fixed issues where characters could be broken out of stealth early. Loki and Morrigan, usually by using an active aura or getting a different other gameplay effect, which is just like a buff or debuff.
Yeah, Ares often broke if you ever walked into range of him, for example.
That explains
dude.
I can. Yep, that makes sense. Conquest fixed an issue where tower.
See, I'm in timeout. This is arena timeout right here. I'm in the corner. See, I'm in arena timeout.
Interesting. Fixed an issue when oracles would get all stretchy when they.
This is where all the arena kids sit.
Yeah,
right
we
here.
knew about that.
Saw that from
item store. Fixed issues with components and selling items for the full gold after leaving the fountain. Fixed navigating stores to controllers. Yeah, I kind of already touched on these at the beginning. Fixed undo. Yeah, we mentioned those. Disconnects. Fixed a variety of issues that could happen if clients would get into a bad state if they would disconnect and then reconnect, or they could potentially get reconnect as a spectator instead of a player. Okay, that's all.
They need to put penalties where your ass gets, you can't play the game for 3 hours when you intentionally leave. That's what they need to do. I'm so tired of people just leaving mid-game. It just wastes everybody's time.
If there's any really big bugs you are still concerned about not being addressed, let us know.
Reach out.
Especially
I'm in timeout for saying arena.
Next patch.
Yeah, like the amount, we get a lot of feedback from Discords, from Twitters, from Twitch clips, any way that you can capture something, especially if you have footage of it, super helpful to us, get it to us right away. But otherwise, that was a really objectively hilarious section. We fixed a lot of stuff, but I was crying at the beginning of that section just with some of the random bugs are so funny. But we have a few more things to talk about. It's been a long show, but let's get to the end of it.
An hour ban?
Let's
yeah,
talk
for sure.
Esports. So recently we talked about Vegas and we talked about tickets going on sale, and those are going on sale. Oh boy, that's tomorrow, isn't it? At 8 a.m. PST or 11 a.m. EST, the tickets will go on sale. Now there is a limited number of these tickets and a limited time early bird sale.
Very limited.
Yeah, so make sure
January
that you hop in and get your
17th to the
ticket right
19th.
Away, because again, this venue's not as big
in
as the one we were in
Vegas
last year.
Smite 2 Founders
sell out
Series.
quick, so make sure you dive into that. It's super exciting. You can check it out on Eventbrite to get your tickets. We have the QR code. You can scan that there to go straight ahead. But again, tomorrow morning for people in the PST, or super early for PST at 8 a.m. Super early. I don't wake up early. 11 a.m. EST. That's for the Eastern Standard folks. Just make sure that you check it out. We're so excited to see y'all there for the Founders Series. It's going to be hopefully the first of many.
They had anything to do with arena, I would have went to that
LAN events. So make sure you check it out. You also are going to want to check out this weekend's tournament, though, straight away. So signups are still available. Where most of this stuff is open bracket. If you're interested in trying to get into Smite esports, now is an incredible time because you can get in there, sign up, and start playing right away. Get your team together and just throw your skills up against other people and see how you do. So make sure to check it out.
This is the Founders Series now, not just in the one-off tournaments that we're having before. This is now lets you qualify into future tournaments in esports, right?
Dude, am I going to have to play
so for more info, you can head over to our Discord.
Conquest or something just so I can compete in these tournaments, so we can get our name out there? Is that what I'm going to have to start doing? Because they're not giving arena no love, man.
You and your buddies could be in Vegas in January if you start playing and practicing now. So it's all up to how much.
Yeah, if you don't get a ticket, just qualify for the tournament.
Just qualify for the tournament. So, so exciting. Make sure to check that out. And again, literally starting this weekend and moving forward. And like you said, we're releasing gods
it's worth a try,
directly into ranked and everything moving forward. Tournament rules may change, but updates are flying off the shelf. So every tournament is going to be a little different with how much these updates are changing things. So going to be really exciting. Next up, feedback surveys. We talk all the time about how important y'all's feedback is.
I mean, I got the hard part down, right? I got the one-on-one fighting.
Feedback is important.
I'm very well
we send out surveys all the time. We have them available in-game, usually through our Discord as well. But we're also checking Twitter. We're checking Twitch clips. Every time somebody pings us,
I just have to learn the
any bit
mechanics
of
of Conquest.
Incredibly useful. Whether it's just how you felt about the game after playing one match, if you're a new player or a veteran player, how a specific god felt. Doesn't matter. If you have opinions, please share them with us because we're trying to build Smite 2 with the community.
Yes,
this is
give
a
them
passion
feedback,
project
give them
between
feedback.
us who love the game and you who love the game. So any feedback you have, share it through any avenue you feel comfortable sharing.
I have to be on comms,
and I promise we will appreciate it.
Yeah, that would be tough.
To continue moving, let's talk about Just About. I've mentioned this before, but Just About is somebody that we've worked with that does bounties. So if you're looking at getting into content creation, Just About's a great way to do it because they offer real cash bounties for creating content, and you don't have to give them your content.
If they got ranked joust and everything else, why not arena? You know what I'm saying?
Or wherever you make content,
standalone
you keep it
though.
yourself for your
Casual
channels,
arena,
but you
ranked
can go
arena.
And claim those
they
bounties
should have
as a
two
little
arenas.
incentive. So you can. It's a good way for us to say, hey, we're releasing new gods. We would love content that teaches new players how to play these gods. You get a bounty. We get content that helps our new players out. Everybody wins. So make sure to check
Rocket League, dude. Arena's just like Rocket League. It's just that you're playing with gods. If they got esports for Rocket League, why not Arena?
Certain bounties are about to time out so that you can keep track of what's available. So it's a really cool system, and if you're interested in content creation, make sure you get in because there are only benefits for you. One more time, too, I'm going to say at the beginning of the show, I mentioned that we were giving away some access codes to Smite 2. Assuming there are still codes available, they were limited giveaways. If there are still codes available, go to the link with ! access, the chat command in Twitch specifically, and use the code SMITE2ALPHA along with following our Twitch channel, and you will get access to Smite 2 on your favorite platforms. We have PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam. Make sure you click the relevant link, go there, and get your free access if there are still codes available. They were limited. So, and you know, if you already got yours, share it with a friend. Why not? Get everybody in because the more the merrier.
If you're one of my Reapers and you need a code, DM me in my freaking Discord. I'll hook you up.
One change that we did recently to help people out who just weren't able to get their value out of the cross-gen passes in Smite 1.
Especially if you're someone that wants to be on our streams and stuff, let me know. I'll hook you up.
And the cosmetics are cross-generational between Smite 1 and Smite 2, but we know that people they want the Smite 2 content. They don't always have time to grind for the Smite 1 content or to earn the Battle Pass levels. So we went ahead and made a change so that if you purchase the cross-gen pass in Smite 1, you will immediately get both of these skins unlocked in Smite 2. You don't have to go through the levels to earn them, which you will still need to do in Smite 1 if you want to show off that skin. But if you own the cross-gen pass, if you buy the premium track of the pass, you automatically get both of the skins unlocked in Smite 2, so they are added to your account and will be available for you to use.
See, that's what I just said in yesterday's stream, or Tuesday's stream. I said exactly that.
So that was just a little reminder I wanted to toss in at the end.
Because I got that level 50 Thanatos skin.
Perfect timing.
And yeah, I think that we're good to wrap the show. So thank y'all so much. It's been a huge update. We're looking forward to seeing y'all next week. Again, that is, Tuesday we'll be pushing this out. So a lot of cool content to go out next week. We'll be looking for your feedback and hopefully a lot of fun times of gameage as well. But anything else y'all want to add as we wrap?
No.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much for all the feedback you guys have been giving us, and we'll see you later.
Yeah, thank you so much, and yeah, catch you later. Bye, fam.
All right, cool. All right. Okay, so that's pretty much it, man. That's a lot of changes. There are a lot of updates for Smite 2. So what we're gonna end up doing is Tuesday when this stuff goes live. Tuesday's stream, we're probably gonna start with Smite 2, right? So I'll start asking in Discord probably about an hour ahead of time to let people know that 15 minutes before we go live, let me know if you're going to want to be in on the initial team. I would love to start and play through at least a couple of matches with a full Reaper squad. You know what I'm saying? But if not, it's all good. That way, everybody gets a chance to try out the new guys. You know what I'm saying? Because if not, if we try to stream and we only have like 3 people, it's gonna be a race on who gets to try new wall, right? So that way, we got a full Reaper squad. Then we can take turns trying new wall, take turns trying Amamatsu. You know what I'm saying? Without having to hurry up and try to clicking it in. So we'll see how that comes out on Tuesday. For some reason, if it's just lame, we're still getting input lag and the game is still running like crap, then we just switch over to Smite 1. There's no biggie. But we will be, my plan is to start with Smite 2. Now, with that said, if you want to join the fun on Tuesday, but you're still on the fence about buying the Founders Edition, right? You want to try out Smite 2, but you just don't want to pull the trigger on the Founders Edition. Come into my Discord. You can type !Discord in our chat right now, or check out the description of any of my videos, my freaking streams, or go to my website, garzagaming.com. Right? Come into my Discord, send me a DM, and tell me what platform you have. And if I have codes, I'll send you a code so you can play with on our stream on Tuesday, right? Because I think I had a World Wolves. She donated some codes. Ice donated some codes. And somebody else donated me some codes too. And plus I get them from freaking Hi-Res, right? Now, if you caught what at the very end what he said, going forward, right? If you're playing Smite 1, going forward, when we get these battle passes, and I think we're getting the battle passes like every 2 weeks or something like that, it seems like, because there's only 50 levels. The battle pass in Smite 1, there's always like a cross-gen skin at level 1, and there's usually a cross-gen skin at level 50, right? So when you buy the battle pass in Smite 1, you automatically get that cross-gen skin on level 1, level 50 cross-gen skin. Even if you don't even have one level in the battle pass, you instantly get the cross-gen skins. So why the hell they have it at the very end, I don't know. It's just stupid, but whatever, dude. You know, whatever. Because there's no carrot at the end then. You know, they're giving it to you for pretty much for no effort. So keep that in mind. So what what I'm getting to is, as y'all know, every time there's a new battle pass, because I've been a Smite partner with these guys for like 3 or 4 years, right? They in this year they've been continuously giving me stuff to codes to do what I want with. You know, I give them out to my Reapers, right? So when the new battle passes go live, I would suggest, if you're one of my Reapers and watch our streams, that you not purchase the battle pass right out of the gate, right? Just wait a few days and wait until I get some. I usually get like a couple of battle passes to give away. So then you have a chance of getting it for free in our streams. Because if you win that free battle pass code, you're getting 2 cross-gen skins plus all the gems and all the perks for free. You don't have to pay crap. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you're Big Daddy Warbucks, you know, do what you do. You boo. You know what I'm saying? Do what you want to do. But keep that in mind. And then for some reason, if I don't get any codes, you know, all your progression is backwards compatible. So if you got to level 20, I didn't get no codes. You're like 2 days before, you know, the end of the freaking thing. You're ready to level 50. You just can buy it, and it'll give you everything on the bottom thing. You know what I'm saying? With that said, too, I usually get a free skin too, or I get skin codes, right? So when we get these new skins, hold off on buying any skins until I can see what skins they're going to give me to give away. Usually it's like 5 or 6 codes of the same skin. And they usually come with the battle pass codes, right? So then that way you're not wasting gems. Because I've seen a couple people that are like, oh man, I just bought the battle pass, or oh man, I just bought the skin. And I was like, dude, don't do that. Smite's been pretty cool about giving me these codes, right? And you know I always try to give these codes to y'all. I don't advertise my giveaways outside the Reaper ecosystem. Because then all we do is get a bunch of damn mooches that come in and get all my, you know, codes and stuff and they're not even real Reapers. They're just a bunch of damn mooches, right? I don't like people coming in and taking food off my Reaper's table. Okay, so that's pretty much it, dude. Now, I'm going to be out of town this weekend. In fact, I got to get out of here so I can prepare, because I'm leaving tomorrow. So I'm going to be out of state tomorrow. So I probably won't be back until Tuesday. So if you don't see me this weekend, hey, I'll check you guys out on Tuesday, right? Hey, appreciate all y'all coming out. If you've been out there lurking, make sure you hit subscribe. I'm Darkgarza, the OG on the GC. We'll catch y'all next time.